truth. Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Tell the truth.
Okay, everybody. Peace, everybody. This is the Information Man Show. Welcome. This is going to be a brief discussion. I brought D. Durrell is on standby. I send a few links out to brother BMT, who's supposed to be on with me at this moment, along with Gab Talk Media as well. I particularly wanted to bring brothers on that were family men. And that's where I wanted to go with this. And then I send a link out to my man, let me see, my main man, Art New Style. So hopefully he'll come on board. Let me send a link out to Prophet of Thought real quick, everybody. I hope everyone is doing well under these unfortunate circumstances in the country. Give me just a minute as I send a link off to Prophet of Thought. Hopefully he is available. This is an impromptu stream. So I sent that brother a link, and hopefully he will come on board and join us if he has the time. Right now, everybody, I'm in California, and Governor Gavin Newsom has basically decided that if you are not an essential worker, meaning you don't work, you're not fire department, you're not the police department, you don't work at a hospital, some type of essential, important work to the state outside of just a job that is not considered essential to the infrastructure workings of the society. In California, we are allowed to go and get groceries if you can. We are allowed to go out and deal with medical appointments if you got those, to pick up medicines for loved ones and things of that nature. But they don't want you just hanging out nilly-dilly. I went to one of my favorite stores, and that is Trader Joe's this morning. Had to wait in line. And under the CDC rules, they're only letting a certain amount of people into the store, maybe 50 at the very most, if even that. So they were letting us in 5 at a time. People were going in. People were very respectful, by the way. They were going in, getting their goods, and getting out. People had their masks, their gloves. I was masked up and gloved up as well. Got whatever little items I can get. I've been like a, how can I say it, a squirrel. I'll go here and go there, get what I can. Whatever I can't get, I try to get another day. Get the water, get the foods that will last a long time, like your pastas. Focus on the foods that you really need in case things get a little bit more bad. And we don't want to panic people, but this is just a reality. So tomorrow, I am doing a very important video on how to improve your health and boost your immune system given the coronavirus. I'll have a sister on. I'll have Evocentric on with me. She's a podcaster. I interviewed her before. She's a dynamic sister, and she's an athletic trainer, so she knows a little bit about health, fitness, and things of that nature. I'm going to go over the vital foods that you need. I am going to concentrate in areas of foods, especially if you are a melanated person, that can boost your immune system, your melanin as well. So I'm going to go over that, the vitamins, the minerals, all the good stuff that you need to fortify yourself. So it's not just about wearing the mask and the gloves, and you got to wash your hands, of course, but you got to also at the same time do things to boost your immune system. So I'm going to get into that tomorrow, Sunday afternoon, early Sunday afternoon. So be looking forward to that. I've got D Darrell on with me right now. I'm going to open up his mic. I'm sure he's heard a little of what I've said so far and get his perspective. So D Darrell, brother, I've sent links to other brothers, but you are a family man, and the title of this show today is about the responsibility of men as it relates to coronavirus in our families. And right now, this is a time not to panic, people, but we know what's going on. This has become more serious than maybe we might have thought before. But for men that are family men like yourself, who have the responsibility of a child or children, let me mute him and he's in the midst of dealing with family right now. Talk about family, man. I'm going to get his point of view in just a moment. Hopefully the lines are a little bit clear right now. Matter of fact, he's out there in the stores. Okay, D Darrell, what's up, man?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
All right. As I was saying earlier, BMT's supposed to be on with me. I send him a link. Hopefully he'll come on. Gab, Talk Media.
I think he's doing a live stream right now as we speak. If I'm not mistaken.
Are you sure? I checked his.
Yeah.
He told me that he was going to be on standby to come on my show, but I'll check. But what's going on, man? I see you in the store right now. As you know, California, we're sort of on a mini lockdown, whatever you want to call it. I didn't go into work today, but actually I am part of being a essential employee because I work in a medical environment. So I'm blessed with the fact that I don't have to be that concerned about being laid off from work or losing hours due to the type of environment that I work in. But I'm off today, went out like yourself to get some goods and, getting in line. And I see you out there right now, brother. Tell me what's going on.
Well, right now, man, and I'm just gonna kind of give you the way the environment is in Houston right now.
Right on, yeah, give it to us. Yes.
Well, basically, what's going on right now is that restaurants, all restaurants and retail, pretty much, they have been restricted. If you're a restaurant that has dine-in, you're basically out of business right now until they say otherwise. If you're a restaurant or a fast food place that has a drive-through, they will allow you to operate on a limited time basis. Any non-essential type of store that's not, related to survival in regards to this particular crisis, you're basically shut down. They're not allowing anybody to go into any type of business in which you can have over 50 or more people in that building at one time. They're not allowing them to operate. So you're pretty much closed. From just looking at it from a business standpoint, unfortunately, I'm going to do a video later on this today. The city of Dallas has been affected a little bit more severe than Houston. They've decided to do a total shutdown, almost similar to what you all are going through right now in California. So unfortunately, I have one of my employees at this point may or may not have the illness right now. So it affected my business in Dallas, and so now I've had to shut down business as of today. And I want to talk about, I don't know if you talked about the requirements of the testing, because that's something I'm going to, I don't know if it's different. I don't know if it's different from state to state or what have you, or just at the discretion of the doctor or the physician. But when I spoken to that particular employee this morning, and she's in Dallas, she told me that because she had a fever of 100.8, and she potentially could have it. Allegedly, she doesn't know yet. I asked her about getting testing or what I can do to get that process going or assist in that process. And she told me when she went to the physician told her they want her to wait 3 days. And if those if you're under 40, you basically have to wait 3 days to see if the symptoms will still be there or not. And if so, then they're going to do the testing.
Okay.
I don't know if that's consistent nationwide, or that's just, everybody has their own parameters in which they're testing this, or and so on. But when she told me that that was something I didn't know. I thought pretty much anybody that wanted to get the test, if they had access, I thought they can get the test.
Nah, it's not working like that, D. Darrell. I just got finished listening to the ridiculous press conference that Donald Trump and his administration just gave, where he's talking negative towards reporters that are asking him very important questions.
The guy on CNN cursed out, said it's bullshit, and this is what I'm saying. I'm like, wait a minute, this not the time. I was like, wow, you never hear I forgot the guy's name, but he's been on CNN for years. That guy flat out just said Donald Trump saying a bunch of bullshit, and this is on this is a national reputable organization, news organization. So I was like, wow.
Right, because Donald Trump is he's contradicting Dr. Anthony, Fauci, the disease director.
Yes.
He is telling people, well, he's saying that he doesn't want people to go out and get tests if they don't need to be tested. But then you have the reporters that are saying to Donald Trump, hey, there are people reporting that they can't get the test and they've got the symptoms and they're asking to get the test and they're not. And then he didn't want to answer her question, the reporter's question. They're trying to minimize this, at the same time contradicting his medical personnel. And my thing is right now, D. Darrell, as men and as black men, we've got to step up to protect our families, because we can't really depend on what's coming out of this administration and things that they're saying. There's so much contradiction. And of course, they're talking about giving everybody $1,000 or $2,000 check, or maybe $1,000. Now, Maxine Waters, I heard her on a show say that she thinks that everybody should get $1,000 every month.
Yes, I agree with that. And that was a discussion. I was looking at Roland Martin, and he brought that up. When I first heard that information, number one, I think that it shouldn't just be a flat rate of $1,000 for everybody. I think it should be based on the standard of living of that state or that particular city. Because what's $1,000 in LA?
Well, I'm in California. I'm in Northern California, where it's very expensive too.
Exactly.
And $1,000, you'll eat through that in a minute.
You can't get it in. You can't. What can you rent in San Francisco for $1,000?
Let me see, a cardboard box.
I'm just saying, So I understand that they're making an attempt to do something, but that was a very conservative. I'm not trying to, I'm a person that I'm just saying, like, I don't necessarily need it, but for those who do, that's a very conservative number from my perspective. So when you're talking about what is we should do as fathers in our community, we have to be proactive and making sure that we have everything. We can't sit around waiting for other people to tell us. We basically gonna have to make decisions on our own as far as what we're going to do to make sure we have all the necessities to survive.
Now, let me say this, D. Darrell. This is why, tomorrow is going to be a bigger show for me, because I'm getting into the health and all that good stuff tomorrow. Okay. But this is important too. And this is the thing. I'm calling out all black men in the chat room, all men in general, but black men in particular that I associate myself with, and those within black YouTube and YouTube in general. If you live near different content creators and you have relationships with people outside of YouTube, or just people in your community, let's just say that. Whatever you get, you got to protect your family. You got to protect yourself, your health, the proper gear you need. I'm gonna be honest with you, D. Darrell. When I went to the store, I saw a man with his daughter. He had his daughter out with him. I don't know your situation, but personally, I just wouldn't be out and about with my kids exposing the children. I would just go do what I got to do because
Exactly.
they just said the other day,
I agree.
they thought that kids couldn't get this condition, and they're saying that no, kids can get it now. And so as black men, as men, we got to protect our families. We got to think with logic and don't use emotions at this time. What do you think?
But why wouldn't they think kids could get it? Kids are human beings too.
Because, brother,
that doesn't even sound logical.
In the beginning, there wasn't a lot of cases of kids. They kept focusing on seniors and 60 and 70-year-olds, right? Because those were the early cases. And I think it was still foolish to make that assumption. And now we're seeing that kids are catching this. It's crazy.
See, that sounds like that only feeds to the fuel of those that have these these theories about the government. Because my thing is, kids are one of the largest demographics that particularly these younger kids, they spread germs faster than almost anybody. I mean, why wouldn't they? It sounds like, I mean, that basically fuels the conspiracy theorists who think that they were withholding certain information to cause the disease to spread, because that doesn't make sense. Let's
look at the 3 conspiracy theories right now. And once again, I'm going to say this again. A lot of us who get on YouTube, a lot of us in our community, let me say peace to Brother Tone. Let me say peace to Fashion for Life. Peace to CC, Little Rock 2517, Brother Jeffrey who's in the house, Black Man who's in the house, the Asper channel who's in the house, and everybody that will come in the house. We got Kenny. What's going on, Brother Kenny, who's in the house as well, CC, and many more people that may come in. Zanny, who's come in. Let me just say to the men, this is the time. See, men, and maybe I'm going to sound sexist here, and I don't give a damn. This is the time when, this is the time when men are the ones who have to step up. Exactly. I know we talk about women's we got feminism and we got women that are trying to do this and that. I'm sorry. This is the time when we have a situation like this, when men, black men and men in their communities, in their families, we need to step up as men and protect our immediate family. That's first, the ones that fall under your crest, as Prophet of Thought always says. But those in your family, those that you're close with in your community, check on the elderly. Check on your elderly in your community. We as men have to be on the battlefront. I'm not saying you go out there and you just get yourself in a situation to get coronavirus. But at the same time, this is hunter-gatherer shit right now. Men should be the ones going out there, getting the food and getting this stuff that our families need. We should not be exposing our kids to the environment. We should be the ones going out there, gathering the supplies and doing what we got to do and what have you. I've got to say that. I don't care what people think of that, because it's just the truth. Right now, I'm doing what I can, D. Darrell. My daughter is out of school. She's going to be out of school indefinite, like many children across the country. Yes. So I've got to step up as a dual parent with my ex-wife to take on the responsibility of having to take some time off work and eat into my time to make sure that I can take care of my child properly. Luckily, her mother is going to be doing telework, which is going to help the situation as well. So we just got to step up as men. I just got to say that as the premise. So as that being the premise, brother, any questions you want to, any topics or questions you want to ask, let's just go into it. But I had to say that as the basis of the topic today. Go right ahead. Okay.
One other thing, I mean, and also when you're talking about what we should be doing as men, also when you're looking at things because I like to tackle a lot of things from a mental health perspective.
Right.
It's important for us as men to maintain a calm and environment in our households. As far as answering questions that your children have. Anxiety levels are heightened at this particular moment, and also we got to look at the fact that inactivity for the long term can contribute to depression for a lot of people. If you're sitting in the house you know, kids can get a little anxious, kids can get, you know, depressed, or other people because they don't have inactivity. It's I think that it's incumbent upon us as men to kind of mandate how we want the household functioning during this period of time. I mean, we have to lay the program out as far as, you know, how these kids are going to conduct themselves, how we're going to go about doing things. You know, like you talked about, you felt like kids should not be going out right now, exposing themselves to this. I wholeheartedly agree. Um, I made my kids stay at home, um, and so forth. They're not going out for anything, you know, at all.
Right.
So
Right.
I think that it's important that we do have these discussions with our family, because we don't want anybody inadvertently being exposed for whatever reasons.
Right.
So we want to try to keep our households as close to normal as possible, because there's a lot of uncertainty, but we want to try to minimize that as much as possible. So
Right.
I think that's I just wanted to point that out um, in the midst of this time, because we don't really know. This is the first time I've ever dealt with this in our lifetime, anybody's lifetime, a pandemic like this. We just don't know what the outcomes are going to be. They're giving all kinds of information. Then, depending on who you're listening to, there's contradictory information. And as you said, our own president is not giving out reliable information. So, so
Right.
we just have to. I mean, it's basically, you know, up to us to be at the forefront of maintaining a sense of normalcy in our household, so that you don't have anybody. I've been reading some mental health journals that have been talking about people, the increase in agoraphobia at
Right.
this point. Um, people not wanting to go, you know, people wanting to stay in and not wanting to go out because of, you know, the fear of what's out there, you know, particularly those that already have been diagnosed with a illness like agoraphobia, which is an anxiety, a phobia, social phobia.
Right.
But that's something that is being looked upon. So
I'm gonna get
there's
into
a lot
that.
of different areas to look at. But go ahead.
Right. I'm gonna do on my podcast, which will be separate from the YouTube. I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna go into an area of mental health conversation. But and definitely follow more up with you, brother, about this issue. But let me just be honest with you. You know, I went out today and I saw, like I said, people had some of their kids. I saw people keeping their distance and what have you. And you know, this whole thing they're calling social distance, it's really a bizarre thing, because it's really weird to see people out and sort of spreading apart from each other,
Yeah.
which is for safety. But another thing I'm noticing, and then I have to catch myself too, D. Darrell, is that I'm finding myself sometimes when I've been out being suspicious of people.
Yes, yes, I'm the same, man. I have been, when I see people walking up towards me, I have definitely been more aware of people around me than usual. I mean, I have to admit, I'm experiencing the same thing. Whenever I
Right.
see people, like right now, as I'm walking through this Walmart right now, um, I mean, when people are coming across to me, I'm making sure that I'm not bumping elbows, or you know how people inadvertently, you know, may, you know, that has been something that I would see and be like, oh, excuse me, no big deal. You know, now I'm looking at that a little bit, little different. I'm taking it a little bit more serious than maybe I should. I'm making an effort not to avoid people. You know,
Right.
so
Let me
just
say
any,
shout out real
yeah,
quick to the life of King Wage, who's come in the house. King Wage states this on the screen here. He says, if you have type O blood type, you're less likely to get it. So I'm going to have to take a look at that, King Wage, and do some research based on what you put on the screen, so that I'm abreast in what the brother is talking about. I did put out a video that's done very well with views. There's some talk about the connection between this virus, this norovirus of the coronavirus, this new virus, novel virus, I'm sorry, novel virus of the coronavirus being sort of, it doesn't do that well in heat.
correct.
There's been some talk about that. There's been some studies out there. There's a video that I was going to release today, D. Darrell. There's a brother, a doctor, Maurice, in Nigeria. Nigeria hasn't been hit as hard as other places in the world. Africa overall hasn't been hit on the same level as other places. There's a lot of people that have traveled there who have come into the country with it. And there's a doctor over there who's talking about that they've been experimenting and understanding coronavirus for many years, and that they think that they could come up with a proper vaccine to knock it out. So there's some reports coming out of Africa, Nigeria in particular, about that. I have the video. I was going to load it up, but then I did some research on the doctor, and he is a controversial figure. Okay,
of course.
He's had some people over there who didn't like him. I think he was president or something. So in Africa, people were kind of like, we want him out. So he's been caught up in some controversy, and I was thinking, well, should I release this information? Because the information that he's saying, yeah.
Is it regards to his medical information or just personal?
No, it's more in regard to his leadership in Nigeria and his. So you know how they got these various organizations and countries in Africa, the EE this and that, some organization. And, but there was nothing about a negative on his. He's almost like he's almost like the Dr. Savvy of Nigeria. He's got that type of aura about him, right? So I had the video. I was going to release this video. He's got a very thick accent, so it is very difficult. You got to take your time listening. But I think I might just release that, let folks make up their own mind. We got a brother, Art New Style TV on with us. But let me, before I bring Art on, let me ask you this question, D. Darrell.
Yes.
As Black men raising our families and stepping up in our communities, how should Black men explain the coronavirus circumstances to their children? What do you say to keep their anxiety down?
Okay. Again, and I actually did a little video on this because I kind of talked about strategies to deal with this as far as people educating their children. What I'm going to say is just be straightforward and direct, and give them as much information as possible. And for the questions that they ask that you don't know, just say you don't know. Just say that, hey, I don't know at this point. I'm only giving you as much information as I have. But if I find out something in regards to this particular question or something that you're asking, I will definitely let you know about it. So I pretty much just say, just be straightforward with what you know. Just try to first educate yourself as much as you can, and then and explaining it, just be as direct and straightforward, and try to and particularly the age of the child, just try to simplify it as much as possible. Give examples of things to that based on their level of understanding. And that's pretty much it. I mean, you just have to be straightforward and give and explain it to the best of your ability. Whatever you're doing in the midst of that, again, if you don't know certain things, just say you don't know. But hey, I'm going to find out if I get more information. We'll have a little family meeting again or what have you, and I'll let you know. But in the midst of doing that, you still want to reinforce being calm, reinforce not acting impulsively or panicking. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you maintain a stable environment in the household from an emotional standpoint.
Okay, excellent. Now let me bring on Art New Style because he is a teacher. And of course, being in California, brother Art, first of all, it's good to have you here. Let me say what's up to Mimi, beautiful sister Mimi, who's come in the house. Let me say what's up to Empress, who's come in. Thank you for being here. Art, you're a teacher. We're both in California. You already know, as well as I know, Governor Newsom has called for sort of a shelter in, or sort of like only essential workers are allowed to go to work, whether you work in the medical field, police, fire, and all that have you. I'm actually one of those essential workers, so I'm still
Did they snatch him? I think the virus got him, y'all. Still waiting. Wow, what happened to information, man?
Okay, brother. I don't know if people heard me, but with that said, Art, let us know what your thoughts are right now as it relates to the coronavirus. Kids are out of school. You're a professor. You're a teacher. I know it's impacting you, your family, and what are you doing? What do you think you have to do as a man, as a black man, to step up within these corona times that we're living in right now? What are your thoughts,
Well, the best thing to do is just try to keep your immune system up.
brother Art?
Can you hear
Okay,
me?
brother Art is
You can't hear me?
probably having some technical difficulties.
Uh-oh.
D. Darrell, are
Can you
you
hear me?
there?
I can hear you.
D. Darrell, are you there?
I can hear Art. I can hear Art.
D. Darrell.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Testing 1, 2, 3. Can everybody hear me in the chat room? We're
I can
having
hear
some
you.
technical difficulties.
I
I
can
can't
hear
hear
you.
you. Can you hear me?
I can hear
Yes.
you, Info Man.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, I can hear you, Info Man.
You can't? I can't hear you.
Uh-oh.
So D. Darrell, you'll probably have to come back in.
Okay. Okay. I'll do that.
Testing
I
1,
guess.
2, 3.
Can you hear me,
All right.
Info?
Art,
Can you hear
try to
me?
come back in if you can, brother, because I can't hear you. Okay, so let me ask everybody in the chat room right now. There was some technical difficulties at one point in time. You probably couldn't hear me. Let me know if you can hear me now. Can you all hear me? Okay, Art's coming back in. Art, can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I'm having some problems. I'm having some technical problems here. Let me
I'm
see
echoing.
something. Let me see something. There's something with my system. So hang on for a minute. Ah, goodness, what's going on here? Oh, I know what it is. I know what it is now. All right. Damn.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear
Okay.
you.
I'm having some technical problems on my side, so I'll work through it. But Art, what are your thoughts about the coronavirus, stepping up as a man? You are a teacher as well, a professor. Kids in California were removed out of the schools early in the school season or year. What are your thoughts about this? How is it impacting you, your family? What are your thoughts?
Well, first, I am never bored. I'm always having something to do.
Right.
I think that's probably some people's issue is what they're gonna do when they're at home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always happy. I got like damn near 4 libraries. Got different things to do as far as developing lessons and keeping in touch with different people, getting on your show. I mean, there's always something to do. My son is with his mother, so he's in a little first, a little safer area. I'm in the suburbs, so um, other than that, my only concern is to keep your immune system and it really how can I say a better I guess it, keep your poop game tight. Okay, you gotta poop all this stuff out. When you're not pooping, that stuff generates
Okay.
in your body.
I'm having some technical difficulties. My God. I don't know why my system is giving me problems right now. Let me see. I got to fix the audio. We're having audio problems, everybody. God, this is the wrong time for this to be happening. Okay, here we go. get it back working again.
Okay, everybody, I'm back on. Some audio problems here. So sorry for the audio problems, folks. Something malfunctioned, but I got it working back up. Oh, so Art, I know you were saying that you're never bored. You keep yourself busy and things of that nature. But how, you're in Los Angeles, brother. How is this impacting you still? You know, I know you said you keep yourself busy and everything, but you know, kids are now out of school earlier than what they were. I know they were going to be having a spring break, right? My daughter was going to have a spring break. It's been extended, of course. They want to keep kids safe. But how are you dealing with this, you know, as a man and having to take care of your family? How are you trying to deal with this week in and week out as this thing is getting more and more, the coronavirus circumstance is getting more and more serious?
Well, again, I was saying that to make sure that you keep your immune system up. So that's the most important thing, is that there's something going on in the air. I see. You might want to make sure. I mean, you know, you want to stay hydrated.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I invested in 4 big bottles of Listerine, because that's pretty much hell on viruses and germs.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to keep your teeth. Believe it or not, you want to brush your teeth at least 4 or 5 times a day.
Okay.
Just you know, just the little stuff. Chew garlic. Squeeze lemon in your water. As
Well,
far
well,
as your
well, Art, wait a minute, brother. I'm going to have you on Sunday's show, because I'm doing a show on how to boost the immune system with fighting off the coronavirus. So I'm going to have you on as a guest as well with Evil Centric, who I'm bringing on. So hold some of that ammunition, brother.
okay. Well,
Yeah, I'm
in the
going to have
meantime,
you on. I'm going on noon on Sunday, and I'm going to have to bring you on board.
okay. Well,
So
mainly,
we can go ahead, brother.
but mainly, I keep my eyes out in front of the house. You know, um, try to make sure that everything is, you know, clear. So far, we don't have people walking around and things. I did drive around and do some things, but
Mm-hmm.
that was like very early in the morning. That's probably the best time to really move around, like between 6 and 9 in the morning.
Right.
But you want to stay indoors, because you never know, somebody might do something crazy inside of a store
Oh my God.
or
Yes.
a drugstore or even in the middle of the road. I know people are sitting there planning to do something criminal. It's just a matter of you being ready to make sure that you're protected.
Okay, then I'm glad you said that, because hey, brother George, I sent you a link if you want to come on. You're a family man. I want to get your perspective on this as it relates to men stepping up to protect their family and doing what you got to do to protect, you know, your community and yourself, you know, primarily. But I'm glad you brought that up, Art, because the last time I had BMT, and BMT was supposed to be on today with me as well, he brought up a good point. You know, gun sales have gone up high in this country because of the situation. And the question is not to scare people. Will we get to a point where people could be robbed for their groceries, for their toilet paper, their water, their whatever resources, because someone roll up on you and be like, you're gonna have to give up them groceries, man. I mean, are we getting to, will we possibly get to that point if this thing gets even more out of control? And the reason why I bring that up is because the administration under Trump, as you can see, clearly everybody, they don't know what they're doing. They're confusing the issue, the whole 9 yards, and people are losing confidence, and it's causing people to run out and buy things at the bulk. I know stores now are saying that you can only have 2 items or what have you, but what are your thoughts, Art?
I think that some people may try to test the waters to see what law enforcement would do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if that's going to be for resources. At this point, most likely it's probably going to be for like people's goods, like their electronics and things that they can steal and loot. And I'm talking about all types of people, not just us, but just all types that think they can get away with something. I think once somebody gets shot in the middle of different things or doing something crazy, that's when they get the message that it's not safe to even go out there and try to steal from people that's minding their own business.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, because I noticed I even drove around like a few hours before we had to stay indoors. I was around like 10:30 or 11, between 10:30 and 11 o'clock last night. And everybody was really trying to get into like, I guess Rite Aid was the only thing that was open.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, people just really just trying to make sure they get whatever they can before they get inside the house, stay inside the house. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Christmas Eve. You remember that? Everybody's trying to buy all the stuff before all the stores close.
Yeah, but
it's a little bit more.
It's a little bit different because you're trying to shop and grab stuff, but then there's the anxiety of what people may have, what you're touching. We got brother George Maycomb too on. A lot of respect for this brother. He's out in the Philadelphia area, so let's get a perspective from the East Coast. And he's another brother who's a family man, a grandfather, if I'm not mistaken. And as the title says, men, we have to step up to protect our families within this coronavirus situation. Now, I'll say to you right now, Brother George, whether this coronavirus is man-made, because I do think that they do play around with biological weapons on us, whether it comes from animals, whatever it is, it still doesn't change the fact that we got to protect ourselves as men. We got to protect our families. We got to figure out what's going on and try to keep ourselves calm, relaxed, and not be thinking emotionally. We got to keep ourselves in logic. So with that said, Brother George, I'm glad to have you on here. Take the floor. What are your thoughts, brother? Tell us what you think is going on. However you see it.
This situation right here now, for last year and a half, we will be in the Sunday Rumbles. We will be on our respective channels talking about black men and the responsibilities of black men. And I always constantly said, black men, nothing's going to change until black men start wanting for their brothers what they want for themselves.
Right.
And the question that I have to ask is, if something like this is not enough to unify black men, then I don't know what it's going to be. And the reason why I'm saying that, because as we begin to really delve into this more, I really asked my wife a question in the car yesterday. I said, they were saying, well, we got to stack up for 2 and 3 weeks, and we're going to have to stay in the house for 2 and 3 weeks. And I know that most black folks live paycheck to paycheck. So how many black people really can afford to stack products in their homes for 2 to 3 weeks? How many black people really even got that kind of money? So now with that being said, how many other black people, black men, are at the forefront of reaching out to other black men to make sure those black men have what they need for their families? Because if we being honest, the majority of folk ain't got that kind of money, man.
Right. I had said earlier, George, that, whatever connections we have in our immediate communities, our elderly, especially too, we need to check on them. We need to say, if you got something that you can help and give to others, do it if you can afford it. I think black men that are on YouTube in particular, who probably know each other off of YouTube, that communicate with each other, talk to each other and say, man, do you need something? What's going on? How are you feeling? How is your health?
Well, you know what
this is the time.
You know what it is, Info Man?
Yes.
We had this classism in the black community for a while. You see it played out. You've seen it played out. But now I can see these rich CEOs stepping down from companies. people going in panic. Now all of a sudden, it don't matter about your stature or how much money you had, your status, your degrees don't matter now.
No, your degrees can't save your ass in this situation.
Yeah, none of that stuff matters. The only thing that matters now is your unification. So now what I'm saying is that the so-called blue-collar worker, the white-collar worker, all the classism in Black America, all of y'all fighting for toothpaste and toilet paper now. None of that shit matters. Nobody do it really matter about Pookie and Ray Ray or whether you got a degree or is we trying to survive? See, this is the stuff that when I came to YouTube that I was talking about. Brothers wanting for their brothers what they want for themselves. So now I ask the question again because I've done 7 videos on a whole series on the coronavirus, and those are my followers that know, see my videos or heard about the information that me and my brother Marvin and Richie was bringing out. But with all that being said, we know that most Black folks, even your so-called corporate brothers, because they got houses, they got car notes, they got property taxes, they live paycheck to paycheck. They live off credit. How many people can really afford this coronavirus right now, feed their families? So now I'm asking Black people across the diaspora and just across America, just Black people, period. Are we making the phone calls to see who need what? Or are you getting phone calls from other Black people making sure that you are okay? See, this is the unification. When we talked about 4 months ago about this reparations and this ADOS, this is the practice of ADOS right now. Right now, this is the practice of ADOS. So I'm asking Black men, are you making calls to other Black men to make sure that them and their families are in need? If not, then it's all for nothing, and nothing's going to unify us.
Well, I was saying a week ago that the conversations that we have, you know, the whole issue around Black women are this, Black men are that, this whole issue around red pill, blue, all these issues that we talk about on the YouTube right now with what's really going on in real time, those conversations right now are irrelevant as far as I'm concerned right now. Okay? This is the time that we got to put in practice the things that we talk about that we need to do, which is unification, like you said, and that is reaching out to one brother to another brother and asking everybody, how are you doing? Do you need something? Can I send you something? Whatever it is that you can do. And then you need to do what you got to do in your immediate family and the community that you represent. That's the bottom line. And that takes what? As men stepping up. That was the reason why I titled this, because we don't need our women. I told D. Durrell this, brother George, that I went out to the store early this morning and I'm seeing people bringing their kids out there, man, putting their kids in the damn element. As a man, I would never do that. I'm going to go out there and be the hunter-gatherer. I'm not going to put my woman and my children out there. And I'm going to do the best I can to protect my body and myself while I am out there so I don't bring anything back to them. Yep. But we got to step up and stop talking the bullshit.
Info, man. See, that's what I'm saying. What stops me from picking up the phone if I'm in South Carolina or wherever and picking up the phone and saying, BMT, you all right? It's
right.
Do you got enough food for your family? We got to be embarrassed about that? What's stopping BMT from calling me, George, brother George? Do you got enough toilet paper, man? Because we know most of us live paycheck to paycheck. Brother, you cool? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It ain't got to be for everybody. It could be just a private phone call. Me calling D. Durrell, brother, you all right? That's where it's at now. Because see, like I'm saying, those accolades we got don't mean shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying.
No, I'm on the same page with you. We got BMT who's just come on. Brother BMT, come on, brother.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How y'all doing? What's going on?
Okay, BMT, I'm glad that you're here. I was afraid that you weren't gonna be able to make it. D. Durrell is on, George is on, of course, Art is on. Everyone's giving their perspective. Now, what I like about this is that everybody that's on here has family, has raised kids or a child, so you know you're not talking just to be talking. You are a family man. How are you adjusting to this situation, coronavirus, as a man and your responsibility to protect your family, yourself, and your loved ones? How is this affecting you either psychologically? What is the responsibilities, brother? Let's get to the point. What are the responsibilities?
Well, so one of the responsibilities, first of all, is organization and preparation. Any responsible father, man, or head of a household would already, before this was already coming, it's about vigilance and being already prepped. This was already something coming down the pipe, and I've already had people maneuvered in certain positions. What I mean about that, right now, I went from having 1 to 2 households. Now we're pretty much a household of 34 strong. We're still growing. All of them are under my care, under my stewardship. The elderly men, they are stepped to the side. So we've already had that passing. It's pretty much, it's always, I don't get a day off now. If ever, I mean, I never did I already have one. But if anything, more so, I'm always on the go. And you see now it comes to where it's more so of a put up or shut up type of mentality, where now your people are looking for you. Now it's where the old guard will always be on guard, where I had to produce. You have to make stuff go about in a certain type of kingdom. You actually need to start maneuvering the women when they go to, instead of them going to work, the men, I have men take them to work. As far as it goes for the children, all children, they've been were pulled out of school. They were pulled out of school a while back. And now they're getting home tutelage. We have, we can do stuff. I'm situationally independent of myself. I've been like that for a while. But these are these kind of talking points, whereas to where it's going to be where men, you don't have the person you need to look to is yourself for where coming your strength. You need to be able to start teaching. You need to start being able to sit down and break down certain stuff. You need to be more vigilant and start looking for stuff, or like, hey, I need the answers. No, you have to be the answer to situations. And so in doing that, like I said, I've been tested by my metal. I've literally, I mean, we're good over here in my camp. And I'm not just talking about the Carolina. I'm talking about from the Carolina all the way down there to Georgia.
Okay.
So literally, I have my network. I have the stuff set up. And so when the time comes, I'm training not just for not just for me. I'm training other men that if I go down, and then it can't happen, guess what? Somebody else is going to need to take my place. So and that's something that is on a constant basis of things going on. You know what I'm saying? We just had an issue the day before last night, D. Darrell, I think he was there for that panel. Three of my young women, they were almost raped. I had to take care of that. You know what I'm saying? So these are situations that are coming towards that. I have to deal with them mentally and spiritually, as well as make sure financially that they are taken care of.
Right.
So there's a lot of stuff coming down the pipe. Where I hear a lot of men talking about the select or certain game and certain stuff. I don't play games about this. I'm literally, this is who I am in my being. You know?
Right. Let me say what's up to Penny Sparks, Wildflower Wisdom. Brother Kingdom is coming to the house. Peace to you, brother. Thank you for coming through. Y'all check out his channel, especially the men. And everybody in the chat room who are content creators, go ahead and support each other. Check out each other's channel and subscribe. We got the Diaspora channel in the house. Empress is in the house. Sister Muhammad has come through from the BMT camp. So everybody that's in the chat room, I thank you for coming through. Brother Doug is in the house. Keystone Tech. Uncle Frank is in the house. Jay Dunn, what's up to Jay Dunn? Peace to you, sister. Glad to see you here. And we got my man, Mr. Mel Advice. Definitely like what that brother's about. Check him out. And Black Man in Fashion for Life is in the house. So everybody that's in there, thank you very much for coming through. Let me ask this question here, and any brothers can touch on this. How should we, because right now the social construct is changing in American society because of this, you know, how much do we trust being around people? Who would like to touch on that? How is this affecting us socially?
I was just talking to my wife about this. You know, it's funny. Everything is slowing down again. With the sports not being there, us being relegated to the homes. I found myself in the living room with my children, my grandbabies, and my wife. And I was like, damn, we all in the room at the same time. The TV not on. And we was all in the room talking. That's something that's become a rarity, you know, because everybody's on the go, working hours and the kids outside playing. But now with a lot of the distractions being taken away, we're able to talk. The communications are being better now. And this is why I said when I came in, we got to start now really expanding that communication, because now we got each other's attention. And now people are in vulnerable positions where they can't be acting like they're better than somebody. Now ain't the time where, you know, you can give me your ass to kiss. So
right.
So, you know, we're all vulnerable. BMT said that there's something from happening to some women. Well, that's going to happen when people get desperate, and people in desperation. It's going to happen. This is the part now where we're sitting still. We have each other's attention. We're conversating. We got to extend the conversation now from our living rooms into other living rooms and expand it.
Right. You know? Right. Definitely, George. Anybody else want to, you know, George, what you said is you're actually on point right there, brother, because what you said is real, because it is going to force us as men and as family to come together in our living rooms and our family rooms and actually talk to your kids, talk to your family, because this is enclosing us to be closer to ourselves inside of our households, because we can't go out, or we don't want to go out because we don't want to be exposed. So this is causing us to expose ourselves, who we are as men, as husbands, as fathers. You're going to have to connect with your kids in that household. And as BMT said, he says he has a certain way that he has run his household, that he has set things up. Let me go over to D. Durrell for one moment. D. Durrell, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, bro.
Okay. You've heard some of the things that BMT spoke about. Of course, Brother George Makem, too, came in with some very powerful thoughts. From what you've heard, you know, given your your background as a therapist, what are your thoughts about what some of the things that the brothers have put on the table?
Well, you know, it's quite evident, you know, like from what they're saying is that, you know, in the midst of a crisis, it does have it can present some ways in which we can, it's going to present ways in which we're going to change in our behavior. It could be for the better and for the worse. BMT, you know, I was actually online with BMT in a show in which some things happened to him, and I hope everything, some things that happened to his kids and so forth, 3 little girls, and he had to go and do an impromptu out the show to handle some things and so forth, where the kids were in danger. And this is a reality of a crisis. These are the type of things that happen in a crisis. Crisis bring people to make and do things that some people would not usually do. And for those who would usually do it, it would intensify their confidence that they can get away with it. So we have to be, as fathers, it's our duty, our first and foremost duty is to take care and also protect the family. So we have to do, by any means necessary, all means necessary, whatever it takes. That's what we have to do to take care of our family. We have to do whatever we can, even if it involves violence. That's just basically what it is, you know. So unfortunately, again, in situations like this, when you look at the basic necessities, whenever the basic necessities are taken away from a human being, human beings would be prone to do a lot of things outside of their usual value system or or morals, and so to speak. The morality and all of that goes away when it comes to survival. And so you're going to see people doing things, you know, there will be situations where people will get robbed. I hate to say that, But as you talked about that earlier, there will be people stealing groceries, breaking into people's homes and so forth, breaking into cars, taking things. I hate to say that, but that will be a reality. I hope it doesn't, but if this illness intensifies and it continues to spread and increase at the rate that it is, it will reach those type of levels where you're going out to go get groceries, and you may have to be carrying something because
Right.
you don't know what's going to happen,
Right.
and they are going to target people, and you have to protect yourself. And it's sad that in our society and with this situation that you will have to do that, but
So
that's the situation we've been dealt with. But as men, again, as being leaders, we have to be ready for that, and we have to take all the precautions necessary.
right. Let me just say this. This is why, as men, as hunter-gatherers, I personally, this is my personal opinion, I think that men should be the ones going out and gathering the resources without our kids and our wives or girls, whatever our relationships are, without it being involved. Let me give George a ranch. No problem, brother. Let me give you a ranch, and that's your other channel there. There you go, brother. You got a ranch on you. So I just think personally, we should not put our kids and our families on the front line if we can help it as best as possible, because there are people out there that are looking to get over. Just in Los Angeles, California, and I know Brother Art knows this as well, there was someone selling fake test kits for the coronavirus. So you already got people out there playing the con game already.
I'm good.
Around this issue. Brother Art, let me bring Brother Art on very quickly. Brother Art, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Besides the issue around people selling fake coronavirus kits, has there been any other scams or other shady things that you have heard that is happening in California or anywhere else?
No, I haven't heard anything yet. The only thing I just keep getting is the children getting food from different food banks and different food shelters. So I'm getting a lot of those notices. So far, hopefully they're not really tampering with the food for the children, because a lot of these children do depend on meal plans and stuff from schools. So that's I guess that was a reality that people just didn't realize, that a lot of parents that they were relying on that to feed their children. So now they got to do 3 meals with their children throughout the week. So it's tough on some people here.
Okay. Wow. Wait a minute though, Art.
Though I haven't seen these scams.
What about I know in the school district where I'm at, my daughter, they had to move the kids out because there were 2 families who were identified as having the coronavirus. So that's when they just shut everything down and said, "Oh, that's it." In Los Angeles, this is another thing too, with kids having all this free time. How do you think, as a teacher, how many of these kids you think are actually going to use this free time to keep up on their studies, use the free time to piss off their time? Who's watching these kids? I mean, of course, there's people that's out of work, right? They're out of work, no income coming in, they've been laid off or whatever, and they're waiting on these $1,000 checks or whatever the hell Trump and his administration is trying to do. How do you think this is actually going to impact our kids? We don't need our kids running around out here, of course, in the streets. But there's going to be a few out there running around. Look what's happening in Florida. You got people out there taking a spring break talking about, oh, it don't matter if I get the coronavirus, out there in the goddamn beach with all them crowds. I mean, just foolishness.
Yeah, it's going to, we have to communicate with our children through Google Classroom. I don't know about the other schools. I mean, my son's school they have their own different networking where they have to take their lessons, As far as my son's school, they're they're being incentivized to keep up with their lessons to bring up their grades.
Okay.
So that's one thing that's been helping them. So they've been, well, he's been really staying on it. Because
Right.
every time he sends in work, I get the notice. You know, so
Right.
that kind of stuff. This is probably one of those opportunities to take advantage of the whole
Right.
distant learning thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I really hope that it doesn't become a norm, because then that's when you're going to start getting into that that new world order type thing with the
Right.
kids. I know they say it's coming, but
Well,
hey,
what I've been hearing, I open up everybody's mics. I want to get people's opinions on this. Right now, these are the rumors that's out there. People that think that the coronavirus came about because of biological warfare, because there is two biological laboratories in Wuhan, China, that the State Department's been reviewing and looking at, that's been involving themselves in some covert type activities with viruses. Then you got people saying that, well, did it really come from animals? Is it really zoonotic, bats and snakes? Then now you're hearing this other rumor that, oh, around the same time that this all happened in China, they were playing around with the 5G's technology. And I've heard negative things about 5G's. And I did a video about 5G's a year ago, warning people that there's something wrong with that. So there's people talking about that. Then the next thing that they're putting out there is that there's been letters or secret letters put out. People were saying that this is about to open up martial law, that they're going to use the coronavirus to put martial law on the population to control us. And then, of course, the whole notion around depopulation, right? Georgia Guidestones, keep the population to about 5 million or whatever. There's a whole lot that you can gravitate towards. Who would like to have a piece of any of the shit that I said, if it even makes sense?
real quickly, before people start looking at Information Man sideways about 5G being in connection with this,
Right.
always
Right.
remember, viruses have metal. Viruses have metal. It has mercury, it has uranium, and I think, what was the other one? I forgot. Aluminum, I believe. It has metal. So yes, 5G or any kind of electronic devices does have some kind of interference with viruses. So
Wait a
keep
minute.
that in mind.
Art, once again, before other people join into the conversation, I want you to repeat what you said again for effect, because people need to get that in their heads.
Yeah, because they be when we talk about this, they look at us side like we just making some stuff up. No, like when you're dealing with 5G or any kind of hell, your computers, your phones, your televisions, all those things do interact with viruses, bacteria. All those things have metals in them. Okay, so they move around your body. So depending on the electromagnetic waves that's going through your body, it moves things around. So when you're thinking that you're taking things for a cure and all that kind of stuff, it may be where you're taking something, but at the same time it's still moving too much.
Okay.
So that might be an issue. I don't have like concrete data on that, but
Right.
I have talked to some experts about that, to where that is a concern.
Okay.
So
I did a video on this. I'm gonna bring Gab Talk Media in. He's another brother who's a family man. I did a video about this about a year ago, because in parts of Europe they were putting a moratorium on 5Gs because of the effects of the waves and the energy and what it's doing, what it could possibly do to your body. So I'm so glad that Art, that you laid that knowledge on everybody real quick. Let me say shout out real quick to Kenny, brother Kenny. Bamboo's in the house. The life of King Wages in the house. Thank you for being here. The beautiful sister Naptro. Jay Dunn is in the house still. Let's see. Keystone, Black Man, Fashion for Life is in the house. Again, Wildflower, Wisdom doing a great job as a moderator. Anita is doing a great job in the house. Everybody's doing a great job in the chat room. With that said, before I go to let everybody chump at the bit on these issues, let me just let Gab Media, let me just let him say a few words. Gab, let me say this to you. Gab, unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Gab, this is very important. So basically today's show, the topic is about, of course, coronavirus, but we as men, as family men, you have a family, I have a family, everybody on this here has a family. We're talking about the responsibilities of what we need to do as men to step.
I can't hear you anymore.
They got him again.
Yeah,
That was that
they don't
5G.
like what we talking about.
That was that 5G.
Around this issue for yourself personally, how is it affecting you psychologically, your kids? Go right ahead, brother.
Yeah. Yeah. Just I did everything. We're doing everything that we can to protect. Excuse me. I'm.
Let me see what's going on.
Yeah.
Now I'm having some
Hear me?
problems.
Can you hear me?
Gab.
Can y'all still hear? Can we still hear each other?
Gab, I
can hear
can't hear
everybody.
you, brother.
Yeah,
I can hear
I don't know why.
I can
Come
hear.
back in, come out, leave, and then come back in. For some reason, I can't hear you.
Can you hear us, Information Man?
Can you hear me, Info?
He can't hear nobody.
Damn.
All right. Can anybody
Info.
else hear me on the panel?
We can
Yeah.
hear you. Can you hear us? He can't hear us.
He can't hear.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Put it in the chat room so we can. Yes, we can hear you.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Oh boy, let me see what's going on here. All right. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
I'm having
Can I
some
be
problem
heard?
with my
Check 1 2.
man, what is going on?
Check 1 2.
Yeah, we can hear
Can
you.
you all hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. In terms of responsibility, you know, any man, any person actually, but men that's over in charge of their homes, man. I
I
just
can't hear what the brother
did the
Gab is saying.
research necessary to figure out what it is that we're going to need, and of course, you never feel 100% ready. Damn, can I still be heard?
Yeah, you can be heard.
Okay. Yeah, you never 1000% ready, man, but I did a pretty decent job, and as time goes on, if they don't shut us out too soon, I'll just continue to collect. One thing that I realized is that I've isolated myself quite a bit as an individual. As America went into individualism, I actually am a victim of myself by not staying connected to lots of good people. And so I've been kind of like doing my own thing. In times like this, man, we're going to have to recognize that not operating as we say we should operate, which is a collective, and figuring out what's the things that are important to us. It's time like this when times like this when it actually you can feel it shows up, and these conversations that we're having about being a collective becomes much more relevant than it ever has. So I this is where I am, so I had to do my best as still an individual, talking to a few friends, but right now is not the time like where you want to make, like, I don't know how y'all feel about it, but I know in my community I don't talk to a lot of people. So when shit get tight, I don't know if I want a whole bunch of people knocking on my door as if we were, really bosom buddies. And I hate that spirit, but it is what it is. Y'all talk to me.
Gab, I'm back on, brother. I missed everything that you said, but I know that I know that what you said was powerful. I've been having audio problems for some reason. This kind of bothers me. It seems like when we're having productive conversation, that's when everything wants to go phooey. But I guess that's the way, the cards that we have to deal with sometimes. But I thank you for being on here, brother. I mean, I send you that link because you're a family man. But let me ask. I don't know if you had answered this question that I had asked you, and maybe you did, and I just didn't hear it because I was having technical problems on my side. How is this coronavirus? How is it either affecting you psychologically or your family? I don't know if you answered those questions already. If you did, I didn't hear it.
Yeah, no, I didn't answer those exactly. But we're going, pretty much in and out of our emotions of, really kind of wondering exactly how far this thing is going to go. We have some things that we know and expect from, our teachings, things like that, Donald Elijah Muhammad, Donald Mr. Louis Farrakhan. And then others have taught about like a kind of sort of a day of reckoning. And we're just kind of wondering, is this actually it, or is this another warning shot? And so we're just monitoring, bro. And it's a scarce feeling at times when everybody bum rush the stores and, you go to the store a couple of days in a row looking for certain items and you realize, damn, this is still gone. That makes you think, but fortunately I was able to I got quite a bit at this point. So now, Brett, like I was talking to before you came on about, not being connected to the community in a way that's productive at a time like this. I've been pretty much moving as an individual. And so this is something that definitely, once this is over, I'm moving in a different direction with regard to I'm coming out of the individualist style, a lifestyle. I don't think it's productive for us. I don't think it's a good way for us to be living, man. We need to be prepared for things like this.
Now, before you came on, and if George is back on, I definitely want to hear George converse with you on this issue. George and others made great, compelling statements. You said, when we look at the state of Black YouTube and just Black people in this country, and you just said it, we got to get out of this individual stuff. To me personally, it puts things in perspective, Gav, and we got to think about some of the things that we do talk about on YouTube that really, when you talk about the blue pill, the red pill, and Black women this and Black men this, and it puts in perspective that none of that shit is relevant right now. When it comes to your personal safety, your health, your children, it puts it in perspective for you, but it also teaches you that some of the shit that we talk about sometimes is not relevant right now and has not been relevant to a certain degree when it comes to this type of shit.
Yeah, this shit is real right here, bro. Like, I can't think of how many times, like, you enter discussions with different people just to see what their mindset is. Like, you're trying to judge how afraid is everybody else, what's their mindset. Most of the older people that I talk to have really been really faith-based. I actually talked to some Indians earlier today, an older Indian couple. And just to see how they felt about it. And they were really relaxed, bro. Like it is what it is kind of position. We did the best we can do. The rest is God's. Like they said it straight out just like that, And so the way that I'm looking at it right now is you do what you can do. Yeah. And the rest is God's, man. There's just some things that we can't, if there's some things you cannot prepare for as an individual, you have to rely on something else or some other people.
Okay, let me bring up this issue. We got a man on here who's got military experience, and brother BMT. When you came on board, Gab, you heard what Art said. How Art was. Oh, I guess he's off. Come on back in, but let's get into this. Everybody heard what Art said about the 5Gs. You got the whole thing about depopulation or putting us into a police state. Who wants to touch on some of that? Who wants to grab onto that?
I want to say this.
Go ahead, George.
I want to say this. I've been talking about this stuff for the last 5 years. On my one channel, 3 years ago, I was talking about gene editing 2030 plan, the augmentations of bodies,
Right.
GMO foods that's making you sick, that's making you go take the prescription medicines. Half the population is on prescription medicines, and then the immunization. So now when they talk about this quarantine thing, we've been quarantined for a long time and don't even realize it, because they control your foods, they control your medicines, and they control your immunizations. They control what you watch. So before they had 3G and then 4G, going into 5G, they already got you on these sound waves. They already control your desires and everything about you. They control the vibrations in your bodies, from the technology to the foods. I talked about this. They are already augmenting your body and getting you ready for the 2030 plan. So what I'm saying is, when I watch these presidential campaigns with Biden, and the other guy, I see the public, and nobody's asking questions about 2017 ban that was lifted for them to recreate deadly viruses allegedly for countermeasures against other pathogens. The mass of the people never even knew about it, or even the airborne viruses that they was doing over in Arizona. Now this stuff is reported and the information is there, but you got to go find it. They don't put it out on your nightly news for you to know about it. You got to go look for it. Or there's over 200 labs in America that doesn't have to be registered on the federally. These they were doing interviewing people within these labs, and they had bioterror vials coming up missing. The stuff is reported, it's there, but people don't know. So now people asking questions, but not the right questions. Mm-hmm. So my thing is this: there's some things that happen that may be beyond our will, but there's information there that we should have, where we should be able to ask the powers that be the questions. They're not being pressured. They're able to just tell us whatever they want to tell us, and because of our ignorance, we perish. Because we don't search the mystery behind the history. So I just implore the people that go seek the knowledge, man. You can go onto my channel, look at some of the stuff that I brought up, and then I don't even care if you don't like me. Just look at what I say and then go look up the stuff. Our bodies are already augmented. I say this and I'll end it. Here in Philadelphia right now, right up under our road, the federal government just okayed the first trials for gene editing. And they started here in the University of Pennsylvania. This whole thing was actually started when in China they genetically modified embryos, and these twin babies was born with the CC5R gene taken out. Where they was resistant, they wouldn't get diseases. They wouldn't get diseases. Then they had they were saying for shot of CRISPR they can cure these diseases, but it was rendered illegal. They was rejecting it because it messed up the hereditary balance. So they was not, they weren't allowing it. So in order to get these things passed, you're going to start seeing, you've seen the swine flu, the H1N1 come out years ago. They got to put these pathogens out for you to call on for these biotech companies now. Follow the money. Look at the pharmaceutical companies now that are investing stock in these biotech companies. Just follow the money, and you'll see it. Follow the trials at the University of Pennsylvania. They not put it on the news, but forget what I say. It's right there.
Right, yeah. Right. Hey, Brother Tech, I modded you up because I know who you are. Brother, I know who you are already, and I got your emails with all the articles. You've been sending me stuff, so peace to you. George, I'm glad that you added that because we need to get these perspectives about this. I think. Go ahead. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Last 30 seconds. Only thing I want to say is go look up the gene editing and how they're trying to get this passed in CRISPR.
Gene editing.
CRISPR-9, and they're trying to get it legal, get it passed, because now we're going into, like I said, the augmentations of bodies. So now when you get that CRISPR shot, that's the nanotechnology that's going into your body. So just look it up. That's
okay. All. Wonderful, wonderful. Brother George, always coming with the knowledge. Now, I'm going to ask BMT this question because it may be a uncomfortable question for you because you do have military background. Do you think, depending on how this goes, brother, because there's already talk about that now, that this could either be a way for them to put us under martial law control? Could it lead to that, or is it just let's get out of conspiracy talk here?
No, it's already started. This is usually how you start quarantining and you start cordoning off groups, factions. I've been in different other cities, countries where this has happened. This is how it works. Literally, they're already talking about stimulus packages and stuff. And I literally just finished doing a live just a few minutes ago, about show me where's your builders, where's all this talk, where's all this collective stuff, because now it's going to be a put up or shut up. I done talked about this stuff. I mean, you can know where the source of all this stuff coming from, but see, at the end of the day, I mean, if you don't have one of these, you're not really a threat. And honestly, let's just be for real. Like, how many black areas have whole trained militias or groups? I mean, again, you got to be realistic about this, you know. I don't have a problem showing force. I did that yesterday. You know what I'm saying? The law enforcement know who we are. So they understand that, you know, depending on if we carry a certain type of badge, you know what I'm saying, they don't bother my women and children and the men. They don't bother us. We keep it copacetic. That's how it is in the Carolina right now. Okay. Other areas, I'm saying, like, just be for real. Like, if you know, what's your banner? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is now where, and this is no secret, why you think ammunition, like, be for real, the black man is too far behind on a lot of these things, like buying ammunition and things like this. This right here is literally $30, and that's literally actually talking about a full-on mag. Like, these things are every day. Like, this is what my women and children, like, this is a pistol for a female. This is a pistol for a female. Like, these things that we carry on us, like, on a daily. I don't talk about this. I produce this. I train for this kind of thing. So now looking at now, they're going to know, like, yo, so you're dependent on that check. You depend on that food and stuff. If you're in that system, I mean, it's going to be hard to weave out, because they know that you need it. They know that some of y'all need the doggone, you know, well, school wise, they're going to have to put the kids on school, depending stuff, and you need that money or that stipend and stuff. These are introverted systems that they're going to start putting people in. The talking points on giving birth, literally, and it was ingenious. I mean, they played a part. I literally just now said, I said, yo, now is not the time for y'all women to start popping out babies anymore. Like, I mean, just being for real, because guess what? You got to take that baby into the hospital. A lot of women, or a lot of the practices of midwives, is gone. It's pretty much gone. They made it illegal in certain areas, and some other areas of structures. In certain areas of structures, to bring that child in, you have to put the mother and the child on certain type of medicines and stuff. So they have to be put into the system.
Well, BMT, they did report that there's a baby that has the coronavirus. There's been some reports about that. This would be a hell of a time to have to bring a child into the world at a time like this, when the all the medical facilities are under a lot of stress. We know that New York is catching a lot of hell right now. Literally, New York is like the epicenter of America, and then of course you got Washington state and California. We got about, last time I checked, it was around 800, 900 cases. Could be more than that. Our governor here is taking everything by the hand and shutting shit down and jumping on top of stuff, but we're all still are at risk. Let me ask this question to you, BMT, one more time. How many black people in the state of South Carolina, where you live at, in your area, that you have seen that are ready, meaning they've got their supplies, they're ready? Because let me be honest with you, for so long, we tend to think that the whole issue around survival, having your guns, your food, your supplies, we tend to psychologically associate that with white people, right? Because we hear about the militia groups. And I'm saying to myself, black people, we should be doing these sort of things. We should be arming ourselves appropriately. We should get our proper food supply. We should be doing these things.
Right.
And the question is, as brother George said, that a lot of black people in this country, they can't make it through this shelter and shutdown or whatever the hell they want to call it, because we ain't got income coming in. Some of us are not prepared. Some of us are not going to be able to make it. Black people may not be prepared.
No, they're not.
So with that said, how many black people in South Carolina that you've seen that you think are ready or prepared that you have witnessed, or is it a sad commentary?
It's literally probably, just to be fair, it'd probably be at least about 3%.
3%.
I mean, that's literally. I mean, I'm watching real time. I'm watching real time as they panic to get to the schools to go get food and shit. When I talked about doggone, hey, you might want to go get a clinic in your communities. People started scoffing and making jokes of that. But now, guess what? You're not going to go to the next man's community that is not like you and think you're going to tell them, oh, wait, we need a doctor. No, because these people paid me. So I am loyal to these people. This is what happens now, where the waste of time talking about these things, about these little factions of the stuff. And guess what? Now coronavirus is the great equalizer. So now 3% are not ready. We already understand when I'm seeing young men and women that do not know how to do the remedial things of literally when it comes to building, sheetrocking, certain types of skills, car mechanics, trade and skills of teaching. You know, you just did one about teaching. We don't have a lot of male teachers, so they don't know how to deal with functionality of leadership. Right. These things are coming full on circle.
Now I'm going to ask, go ahead. Now I'm going to ask another dangerous question, and I want everybody to get a taste of this. I want Brother George, D. Durrell, of course, Brother Art New Style to get a taste of this. Now here comes $1 million dangerous question. As you can see, some of us city slickers, some of us folks that live, we are so culturally conditioned and we're conditioned to identify getting our food at the store. So we're so conditioned to going to get our prepackaged food, getting all these different things. And when we don't have it, people go crazy. Now, here's the $1 million question. How many of us are black people right now, even on this panel? And I'll indict myself. How many of us, man, I wish I had brother, he's a survivalist. How many of us know how to grow our own food? How many of us know what things we could eat if there was no supermarket to be gotten to anything? How many of us are prepared on a survivalist point of view? If we were to if we had to go in the woods and gather some food, how many of us know what to pick and what not to pick? Because we've been so domesticated like a damn lion out of the wild. You know, how many of us? Now, BMT, you might be prepared, brother, because of the lifestyle that you live. But somebody like me, I gotta be honest, I'm probably screwed.
Well,
go ahead.
Therefore, the majority of us is used to living through the fabrication. And what do I mean by that? We go to these supermarkets, to get our foods. You know, we don't know how to grow our vegetables. You know, we don't know how to grow tomatoes and the different things we need to sustain ourselves. We're totally dependent upon the government, and BMT alluded to that, and they know it. That's why I said they control what you eat. They control what you wear. How many of our women know how to sew clothes and make clothes the way? I'll be 45 this year, so I remember being a kid watching grandma actually make clothes.
Wow. Those days are over, man. I mean, those days are over. I remember the knitting and your grandmother knits you a damn hat. How many people got people in your family that can knit you a hat right now? They don't know that. So what happens is even in the South, a lot of the people in the South is just as messed up in the North as the North. Now, our grandparents and elders, when I go down to Virginia or Georgia, the older ones, they know how to build homes up from the ground up. They know how to chop trees down and build stuff. But our generation don't know how to do none of that. So they know how to shoot guns and take guns apart, put them back together, and create their own weapons. We don't know how to do that. But these militia groups, white militia groups, been trained into this. That's been anti-government. See, we called the white man the devil. They called the system the devil, and they train every day and stock up everything. These ex-military guys, they go to the military and bring it back home to their people. Right.
So we needed brothers like BMT, Brother Moses, Cerulean Gray, all of them to go to the military and bring that intelligence back home and begin to teach our people, because our people, man, we asleep at the wheel. So no, we're totally dependent upon the GMO food and everything else.
Now, George, you're in Philadelphia, right?
Yeah.
Okay. From what you've seen on the ground level, since this whole thing has escalated to where it's gotten now, George, can you give us what is happening in Philadelphia? How are black people responding to this situation in Philadelphia where you are?
Well, I'll say this because I come from a city with damn near 1.8 million people, probably 800,000 black people. Black people everywhere. You know, it's Philly. You know, it's the place where all the slaves ran to. So
right.
There's black people everywhere. All black neighborhoods still here, even in gentrification. I'm gonna say this: you're gonna see two elements. You're gonna see some black people walking around with masks and gloves on, but then you're gonna see a large portion of our people just walking around like nothing happened because they don't believe it. It's just our people. I mean, what I'm watching is, I'll say this. I'll say it this way: I'm watching black people run to the supermarkets and fill up they cabinets and refrigerators with foods that's going to make them sicker. I can go into I complain on my channel. I even went to I'm as crazy as I am. I went in the supermarket, stood in the middle of the supermarket hollering at black people. I did this the other day. My wife thought I was crazy. I said, why is it that it was a crowded? I said I can get as much fruit and vegetables as I want, but I can't get no meats. I can't get no Pepsi.
Wow.
Nobody wanted the ginger. Nobody wanted the fruits and the vegetables. But everybody's was stocked up with ice cream and Pepsis. So now you're stuck in the house. You're not working this off. You're not training. You're not doing nothing. You're just eating foods that's making your system even weaker. So now when you come out, you're gonna need more of these immunizations and need more. Like, so it made me tear up. I stood in the middle of the supermarket. Why aren't y'all eating the fucking vegetables? They thought I was crazy.
Hey George, I saw the same thing myself. I'm seeing people grabbing soda pop. That's the last thing you want to be freaking sitting in the house drinking on if they put some damn martial law on your ass. People buying ice cream. You're absolutely right. I'm saying to myself, what are people doing?
I took turmeric, peppermint, and eucalyptus. Turmeric, peppermint, eucalyptus, and I put it in the water. I boiled it and let it steep for an hour. I put some cayenne in it. I put cayenne, turmeric, peppermint, eucalyptus, and I let it steep for an hour to hour and a half, and then I strained it into a cup, and then I juiced pineapple, orange, and ginger, and I mixed it all together. And
right.
This concoction together. This is a high vitamin C jolt, and it pushes out of your lungs. So when you drink it, it's very hot. It's gonna burn your chest. But when you drink it, it's going to dilate your eyes. It's going to make you feel like it thins your blood, and it's going to make you start coughing up phlegm immediately.
Wow.
We used to drink this. So you use the peppermint. Look up the properties in peppermint, eucalyptus, and cayenne pepper. So you mix it with the orange. Cayenne pepper is high in vitamin C as well. You mix it with the orange. You mix it with the pineapple. So you juice the pineapples, the ginger, and the orange. You juice that. So that's one concoction. And then you boil the herbs and strain it to a tea, and then you pour them together and you shake it up. You can sit in the refrigerator, you can drink it warm. But what it's going to do is it's going to make you feel like you're high, because it's going to thin your blood, and it's going to push any phlegm that you got in your nose. It's going to come out. It's going to come out your eyes, your ears. It's going to push it out. That cayenne pepper, that peppermint pushes it all out.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, let me, brother George Maycomb, you giving some jewels here, brother. Let me go over, and I'm going to hit over to Art New Style as we get ready to close this out. Brother D. Durrell, are you there?
Yeah, what's up, brother? I'm here.
Okay. You've heard what George was saying. I mean, and you heard exactly what BMT was saying. I mean, he was saying some real talk here. You were giving me earlier in the program, you were giving me some insight into what was happening in the Texas area where you are.
Yeah.
Do you think black people, I mean, we know that there's people that are not prepared across all races, but in particularly black people, do you think that black people are going to be in a bad situation?
Yes. Unfortunately, just like most crises, we seem as the majority to be, less than 5% is ill prepared. I mean, we saw this in Hurricane Katrina. We saw it in Hurricane Harvey. You know, we saw it in numerous uh, crisis situations that were sprung about by natural disaster. And unfortunately, this situation is the same. I went in the supermarket, seeing the same stuff you all seen. I went into a place and I saw nothing but people getting potato chips and soda and dip and all the healthy foods were still sitting there untampered with for the most part. Um,
Wow.
Most urban areas, the majority of people don't know. I mean, I grew up in rural Louisiana, a small town. I understand the science of farming. I know how to grow my own food, even though I don't do it. But
Hmm.
I do understand how to grow my own foods and so forth. I do know how to hunt because that was just a culture of the area I grew up in. People hunted as recreation and so forth. You know, I literally killed animals with my bare hands with a knife. So I literally did that growing up. So um,
So D Durrell, let me ask you this. So
yeah.
being that this is about the responsibility of men in our families as it relates to the coronavirus. So if the stores were to say we ain't got no more food tomorrow, if you had to go out into the woods, D Durrell, you have the means and the skills and the training, the experience growing up to be able to get out there in the woods and hunt some game for your family.
Oh yeah, I'm a killer deer. Deer, coon, whatever. I'll kill it. If I gotta kill it, it's gone. I mean, I
Okay.
don't have a problem. I haven't done it in a long time, but hey, I don't have a problem when push comes to shove and is eat or no eat. Hey, it's just it is what it is. You know, I mean, those skills, you know, those type of skills, even though you know, I don't typically do that a whole lot anymore since I left home and so to speak, but you never forget how to do that. You know, you never forget those survival skills. Those things are always embedded into you, you know. So no, I would not have a problem with doing that. Growing food, that's pretty. That's like to me, that's I don't find that complicated to do. You just have to have you know the soils and the necessary seeds and watering and so forth, and just doing your own small garden and things. I've done that. You know, I was basically you know, taught that at the age of 8 how to grow my own food. You know, so that's something you never forget. But in those respects, I don't have a like I said, when you're in a survival mode, it's just almost second nature to you to do those things to survive. You know, you know. So but unfortunately, the majority of our people don't have those skills.
Okay. Okay.
They don't, and that's the issue. I mean, people. I mean, this is the thing. That's why when I hear black people talking about revolution and this and that, I mean, I'm like, what are you talking about? You don't have any of the things that's necessary to survive. Why? You know, you hear a lot of guys in the pro black community they say this and that, and we do this and that, and you don't. You're ill prepared for the foundational stuff. You know. So I mean it doesn't make any sense, but for the most part we're not as a community we're not equipped, and we lack the skills to do it. We really do for the most part.
Wow. Let me say this. This is another question, and I'll have Art touch on this first, and other brothers can gravitate towards this question. This is another thing that I heard over the week listening to a well-known radio host, Joe Madison on Sirius XM. Someone called in his show and said that they think that there's something going on where you go into the more well-off to do neighborhoods, and you know what I'm talking about, where their Walmarts, their Costco's, their stores in their areas are well stocked. Whereas if you go into the areas that would be quote unquote the black areas that have the Walmarts and have certain stores, the shelves for whatever reason don't appear to be as they're not stocking them as quickly as they are in the more well-to-do areas. Now, is this just conspiracy talk? Is this a reality? Has anybody heard of this in their areas? That there's a distance. Go ahead, brother.
It's funny you said that because I mean I live in a pretty affluent area, and the we have what's called HEBs, and we got Walmart's too, certain grocery stores. Those stores, one day you may see some things going off the counter before the night is over with, or the next day is refilled. I went into I have a group home in South Park, which is a a black area in Houston. Went to the fiestas and so forth. I've been there all week with getting things for the group home for the clients that I have that live there for residential.
Right.
I saw a totally different. Not only is there a difference in regards to the restocking, but the quality of food and the accessibility to the quality of food that you need. There's totally a different quality in it. I saw that firsthand this week. Matter of fact, I was just talking to my wife about the fact that I went to the fiesta and so forth. The same rows of things you may need, like bread and so forth, and different things, and juices and so forth. It's been 2 or 3 days before they restock.
Wow.
I saw that firsthand.
So there may be something, or there is something to this that people are reporting that. Let me go over to Brother Art, New Style. Unmute yourself, brother. You're in the Los Angeles area. I'm in California, Northern California. Have you been noticing that where you are, Art, a difference in how certain stores are been stocked versus stores in more poor areas versus the more well-to-do areas? Have you been hearing about that, or have you seen that, or heard anybody talk about that in the area that you're in?
I'm gonna keep it real, man. That's how I stocked up most of my food.
What? Come on. Wait a minute, Art. Wait a minute now, brother. Now you're indicting yourself. No. Go ahead. Be honest.
That's how I got my food. I knew for sure. I knew. Because at first I tried, the hood and all these little areas and stuff like that.
Right.
But lines were hella long. People were kind of like desperate, because we got like a lot of Latinos were over here and Asians, and also, that's another thing. You got those people that are really panicking just as much as anybody else. But when you go into little yuppie towns and all that other kind of stuff, I mean, lines are not that long. Everybody's chilled, relaxed. They pass each other sanitary hand wipes and stuff like that, and smiling and have a good day. Nobody's really panicking. We still, I mean, some of us bump into each other. Oh, excuse me, all that kind of stuff. It's like they just chilled, man. And then plus, that's how I was able to get my water and my napkins and all kinds of stuff. So that's how I stacked up.
Art, you cracking me up right now, man.
Comparing a state.
Oh,
we were
God.
passing up. We were passing stuff. Said, those crackers, could you pass some of it? Yeah, there you go. It was like all that. I mean, it was pretty relaxed. Whereas, when I went to further into, like in our part or what have you. Now, don't get me wrong. The brothers and sisters, they chill too. They pretty much chill too. Where'd you get that? Oh, over there. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, fam. We chill too, but like probably the other folks, they're the ones that's panicking. To be honest.
I'm gonna be honest with you too. Since you're gonna make a revelation, I'm gonna make a revelation right now too. And we got Sister back to the basics coming on with us. Let me make a revelation. In the area that I live in, I'm not gonna lie. I live in a pretty decent community. And I noticed that the white folks and the other groups of people, when they were in line this morning, I got up early and went to Trader Joe's, and I was amazed at people laughing and smiling like it's a good time. And I'm thinking,
remember I told you it's like Christmas Eve.
Yeah, but this is the thing I know is about black people. Whether we live in an affluent neighborhood or we live in a poor neighborhood, because if we came from struggle, if we grew up in struggle at some point in time in our life, some black people, let me not indict every black person, but some, even when we are affluent and we're going through what we're going through right now, we still sort of have a stressor, even when we got the money to buy the shit. Because I ain't gonna lie to you. I was in line and I'm around these folks and they're laughing and smiling and the black people that I was seeing like myself, you know, I got a job. I'm lucky, everybody. I'm an essential worker in the state of California, so I can actually go to work every day, still get my check, things of that nature, right? But I'm saying to myself, I'm still feeling stressed. And the black people that I'm looking at are still feeling like we got to get in there. Even if we got the money, we're like, I got to get in there and get something. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? I'm just mad that I didn't get my alcohol and my disinfectant spray, Lysol disinfectant spray. That's the only thing I don't have.
Hey man, I got toilet paper, but I still want more. And I run in there and I said, y'all got the toilet paper? Oh yeah, over there, sir. I'm rushing over there. So I'm like, I still feel like, you know, the white folks, they smiling and grinning. They smiling and grinning and good morning, everybody. Fucking good morning. I got to get some shit.
Well, here you go, bro.
Let me bring sister back to the basics on what she's come upstairs. Welcome here, sister. You're always welcome here. What are your thoughts? And first of all, if you don't mind, what part of the country, and I think you got military background, if I'm not mistaken, like BMT, so you can answer that question that I was asking about, you know, are we going to go into martial law? But what part of the country are you in? What are you seeing out there, sister?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Welcome here.
It is crazy. I just got out of a brief a little bit ago, and I tell you, this is crazy because one of the things that was mentioned in the brief, they said, oh yeah, you know, one of the last two places that will shut down will be the commissary and the post exchange. So I'm like, okay, so it's coming. Okay, yeah, so it's coming because I just got out of a meeting about it, so it's coming. It's here.
Are you currently in the military? Or are you a reservist? Educate me.
I'm active duty.
Oh shit! So you getting the orders right up from the the jump start.
Yep. So right now, I mean, schools started closing in Kentucky like this Monday, and it's interesting because whenever I was screening pre-screening for like as far as a questionnaire about the virus. And they completely shut the site down yesterday. So
wait a minute. Repeat that. A questionnaire about the virus. And they shut it down.
They shut down the site. They shut down the site that we were working at.
And okay, and what was was there some okay, is somebody there? I mean, maybe you can't disclose these things because you're still active duty, but obviously something's going on, right? Let's just say that.
Oh yeah. It's we had right now, let me see, how much can I say? Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
the white they're watching you. They got the eyes on you.
So I'll say it like this. I'm going to give you the government answer, but I'm really going to tell you without telling you.
Okay. All right.
Okay. I neither confirm nor deny that there are any cases right now at Fort Campbell. There are currently like some, like this is where, like with the criteria we're screening for is that there's some gray areas. You can be asymptomatic for 14 days. And this is where the gray area comes into play, because just as you showed on one of your previous lives, we're also in allergy season. So if somebody comes in with a dry cough, that doesn't necessarily mean that they have it. And also we're still in the cold flu season. So one of the hardest things about screening has been trying to like sort of make that distinction between, okay, this person is probably having a seasonal allergy or they're having cold and flu-like symptoms. But as of right now, I neither confirm nor deny that there are any cases at Fort Campbell.
All right.
It's getting crazy because like whenever I went out, because usually we start PT at like 6:30, so I went out to the site where we were at. And then I was like, oh no, you know, to be at this place at this time. I'm like, okay. So when I went back to um, the barracks NCO came in to check on us, and I'm like, I've never had that happen. So like they're like, when they're already again restricting movement, we were at a 80-mile radius, like, well, 80 miles from post that we could go. Now we're back to 50. That'll probably change. Everything's changing. Like I said, I just got
Okay.
out of a brief probably maybe like an hour or so ago, and just like the person who briefed said, everything's gonna change. It seems like every minute something is changing because of how the flow of information is. And so that's what I will say about that. There are people who are concerned, though, particularly the service members who have a spouse who is pregnant, or if they have children. So that's who I see where a lot of the questions were coming from. And of course, people who are in the barracks, they're like, well, if somebody, somebody threw out a hypothetical question of, well, if somebody has it, that's in the barracks, I'm like, well, they can't stay there. They have to go. They have to be separated from the rest of the population. Like if that
Okay.
were to occur. So yeah, it's
Well,
crazy over here.
let me just say this to you. Let me ask you this one. This is very important. There's been this talk right now about the military presence needing to be on the ground, whether it be in New York with what's happening in New York, California, whatever. Have you, since you're in the military, have you heard anything in your walks of life that Donald Trump has actually hit the order on this? Because you got the mayor in New York that's calling them out, saying, what the hell's going on here? Get them out here. Get this thing going, because the military's got the capabilities that some of these cities, the military's got shit that's like a damn city that some cities don't have. So
Yeah.
have you heard anything?
I just got out of a brief, and if that had occurred, I didn't hear it yet. So
Okay.
I haven't heard anything about it. As far as an executive order, I have not.
Well, we got this buffoon in the White House, but he has. I know you're military, so you can't say anything, But I'm gonna say it. I'm not military.
I don't like any of them, so
I'm not military. I can say it. And I know there's brothers on here. I know BMT, you're conservative and all that, brother. But this goes besides. This is the problem I have. President Trump has the ability, because he's the chief, he's the executive, right? He's the commander, right? Doesn't he has the ability to tell the military, bam, take your ass to New York? I know they got to move equipment, they got logistics, right? But I don't understand why his critics are saying he's been slow to get the military more involved from this aspect, the aspect of dealing with the health crisis.
Okay. So
now maybe BMT's got better perspective because he's military like yourself. Go ahead, BMT.
Okay, so technically every state has there's active duty, there's reserve, and National Guard.
Mm-hmm.
What you would see is not the Army, as to say, like, back to the basics.
Okay.
You would actually be dealing with the National Guard that would actually be the ones that would actually come.
Okay.
You see, that's a different element than her. Because see, the National Guard, she answers directly to the government. Okay, that's who she would answer to. That's where the National Guard and Reserve, they answer to. Well, the Reserve would answer. They're the backup of the military. However, the National Guard, if the senator or the governor of the state says mobilize the National Guard, that's it. That every state has their own private National Guard that literally, if my state were to go into a nation or a national security, then I have the right, as under God and state and country, to mobilize the National Guard. How do I know about this? I was part of CSMRT tactical team. So what happens is, and I don't want it to come to that, because my brother's National Guard. And the last thing I want to do is have to pull or draw on my brother. But he knows how it is. I did train over 400 of them men. So I do know I'm pretty certain in my company, my men. But also we've had this talk. We've had this talk at the NWO. We have this talk with a lot of the men that's still on the base that have not retired out, even with the women. So nobody wants it to be, because see, what happens is it's in a sense of nobody wants to draw out on their fellow man. That right there is going to be a shit show that I don't think a lot of people are, especially for minorities, are ready for. I mean, just being for real. We say that, hey, let's take the nation. But when it comes to that drastic capability of hearing and dealing, see, it's one thing when you watch it going on elsewhere in other countries. It's another thing when you actually have to start. I'm not sure if y'all seen the TMs and the FMs on how to get rid of biological issues. You literally are going to get rid of everything. You're literally going to encamp, and nobody wants to watch that happen full time. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to have to see where I'm having to shoot or punt a gun at back to the basics. However, there are some radical factions that are already at that mind state, like, yo, I'm just ready to see her. She could just be there. And that's the thing about it. 9 times out of 10, if the military is there, they're there because the state can no longer fundamentally supply the needs of medical treatment. So you would have them come in to say, yo, we're setting up checkpoints for if you have somebody sick and there's no space at the hospital, bring them here. Her and a staff of females and probably 2 men are going to start running clinical tests on them. If y'all have babies that need to get fed, bring them near. If you have certain stuff, and see, that's the thing about it, because those are the people who are more so tethered to, yo, I got to defend my town. But also it's like, I serve 2 masters. Do I serve my community? And if I serve my community and I run out on my military, now I can never go back, because now I have to go to prison. So this is going to be a very compromising situation for a lot of people in their communities. And see, and that's why I say I understand that, but I've taken some people to doggone prison for that. They ran out on the military. We got to run and drag them back down. For some men, we've had these talks at the ATP gun shop, and there's no secret. And Back to Basics can tell you, there are a lot of civilians that can outshoot military, hands down. There's a lot of us. So the thing about it, why this nation, this country has never been invaded, is because there's a lot of crazy gun nuts. Majority of the military's weapons, technology, and stuff come from them crazy gun nuts that live out there in the boonies. So we don't want this to happen, because once the nation starts going into martial law and they start seeing fragmentations, you're going to have outside forces that are going to start appeasing, saying, listen, think about like the French and Indian War. Think about what happened when the French started helping the colony say, yo, we'll help you with this, and then we'll help you deal with your government. And so that same opportunity will happen again. It will most likely happen because other forces are going to come in and appease that of those to say, yo, what are you willing to do to get rid of your former government? And that is that's shaking the hands with the devil, because now we know with the sickness and the illness, babies need to get fed. The economy is right now trying to stay afloat. Right. And we also got to understand, we had this talk, and folks, those who have essential jobs of keeping the power going, keeping the gas in the gas stations, medical, teaching, different essential jobs, not no doggone little. Listen, man, they need the bare essential jobs to keep this country still going on a heartbeat. We're at the end of the Ottoman Empire for us. There's no secret. We've been trying to hold on and keep the lie. And I'm not going to say what I know, because I'm not about to get locked up. But the thing about it, I understand a lot of people, like my brother and them, they have been gone for a while. You know what I'm saying? So they already understand we have to put on a farce in the front. China's not telling us how weak they are. No country is telling what's going on in-house. We think we know, but we necessarily don't know, because that would mean a sign of weakness that can be exploited. Right now, let's be honest. China said they're not going to be making medical medicine for the U.S. Guess what's a big issue in the Black community? High blood pressure, diabetes. So that means a lot of people are going to get sick. You cannot afford for these people to get sick. You're not allowed. Mississippi, 30 elderly people died in one night. You think that made the news? No. Why? Because that would have stirred up a panic. Sometimes the parent can't tell the child what's happening. Why? Because once that happened, oh shit, fuck, where's my gun? People are looking at what happened in Ferguson. The minute they got bad news about that court case, they tore up the whole town. So
that's true. That's true.
So we gotta be honest, and those are just court cases. So the minute, and let's be honest, and there are entities at work that are waiting to hear that bell horn sound. Do I think black folks are going to be running out there causing chaos? I don't think so. Black. Well,
let me ask you this question, and I'm going to go over to D. Durrell and add him to the discussion, as well as the sister back to the basics. You said last week when I was on live last Sunday, and everybody make sure you come back this Sunday at noon, because I'm going to be talking about how you can boost your immune system to help you fight off the coronavirus. I've got I think I'm going to have Art come over and speak. I have a sister coming on with me, and I'm going to get into the vital things and talk about foods that will empower your melanin. So make sure you tell everybody about that and get your butts over here this Sunday, because I think that's going to be a dynamic program. Now, BMT, you said last week that you had a conversation with someone in South Carolina that talked about how they were willing to do what they got to do if they even had to resort to violence to either protect their family or take goods from people.
Yes.
I say that with a hard G, goods. Give me your shit.
Right.
Okay.
We've been having for about almost a month now. We've been having cordial meetings of different groups, different factions. We've been meeting to see who's who and who the flex of who. And one thing that we all agreed on was, what is the point of us gathering when I know that he who gathers, I can just go take? That's why I had to correct in one panel when they said there are no more guns. Oh, there's guns. It's just that the state is no longer signing off on you're allowed to get a gun anymore. Because right now the guns that, and then we talked about it, what the gun issue that are floating out there in the US now. So they're like, yo, we're not trying to put any more guns out there. We're not trying to put any more guns out there. But however, getting ammunition, that's a different whole beast. That's a whole beast now. And so the circulation, this right here is king. Having one of these is king. I can hit you from 200, 300 yards out with one of these. I can take you have one man alone take a whole Walmart by himself with just this. He only needed 4 of these. 4 of these and just this right here. This is the end all be all. This is the king. And you don't know who's who has one of these. And the thing about it that's so true, there's a lot of them that you watch those YouTube videos that have been training their children, that have been training. I remember I had videos of people saying, why are you teaching your kids that, BMT? Why are you showcasing? I'm like, yo, y'all think I'm bad. You got it where they have rituals when they kill a deer, they make the kid drink the blood.
Oh, wow.
So y'all gotta understand, some of these kids, and you seen them back, go watch these kids at the range. Watch these young men that come out there to the range and they be like, yo, I've been running this since I was younger. But they understand this is take or be taken type of mindset. And they're just waiting for this kind of stuff. And this is not me on some conspiracy theory thing. We laughed at it. Look on Netflix when we laughed at the doomsday preppers. How many people know how to build an aquaponics, hydroponics setup system in their house? That literally, you can actually grow your own food and also have fish in your house. That is something that is not taught, that you literally can self-sustain yourself for years. But see,
I don't think a lot of people are prepared for survival skills like that, because we just don't. I mean, BMT, there was a time when let's be honest, most black people in this country migrated out of the South. Our families came out of the rural environment where you learned how to grow your own food. You learned how farming. You learned how to handle a gun. You learned survival skills. And as I hate to say this, as we domesticated ourselves and moved into the North and other parts of the world, and we got comfortable with the supermarkets and being able to get our packaged food, it has sort of neutered our ability, our survival skills. Let me just say that, if that sounds correct. So this may teach us that we need to get back to those types of skills if we're able to come out of this at the end, that we need to take those skills very serious, because I'm going to tell you right now, if this virus doesn't destroy us completely, it won't be the last, because we have a long history in this country and in this world of let's go back to World War I very briefly. How did people start getting the flu? I was watching if you guys haven't had a chance, check out this documentary on the pandemic on Netflix. It's powerful. It's called Pandemic. And they talked about how you had men coming back from the war in World War I. And that was one way that the flu that we know today began to spread all over the world, because a lot of these men came back sick from the war. And that started to fester itself throughout the country. And of course, we know Spanish flu was the last big epidemic. No, not epidemic, pandemic that America had to deal with in 1918. And in that documentary, they used to put people in mass graves. And in the documentary, they went out and they actually searched for the mass graves, where they just would throw your body in a ditch somewhere in dirt, and that was it. Okay, so people had to do what they had to do back then. So everything that you're saying has value, but this is the question, and I'll come to you in a moment, sister. We don't talk about these things on YouTube enough, man. We spend too much focusing on the low-hanging fruit topics. You know?
Before I go, I want to tell y'all this. March is almost over. What happens in 2 months? What happens in 2 months, info? Have we forgotten? What comes out? Think about it. I want you to know what comes in 2 months.
We got the summertime coming, right? We got the change of the season. Now, maybe I'm not hitting on it. The climate's going to change.
Okay, you're close. You're close.
Right?
What's going to happen that always devastates us?
Oh, well, don't we always have the floods that come about? New Orleans went under, had a flood. I mean, hurricanes, right?
Wildfires.
Wildfires are coming to California, as it does every year, big time. And then don't we have hurricanes
in 2 months?
In 2 months.
In 2 months. I want you to understand why a lot of people, I'm telling you right now, you need to understand. Y'all think that $1,000 is going to be shit. It's not. Because in 2 months, the economy, we don't know how it's going to buckle when hurricane and tornado season and the epic, and you know in California, y'all be having them damn earthquakes and shit.
Right.
Time.
Right. And that can happen at any time. That can happen to us anytime.
Literally, you got to understand. With the way the economy is right now, it's not, we will not, if literally, especially, it's like almost a perfect beef stew of chaos that if you can get a generator, get one. Because understand this, the essential necessities are literally going to go to the bare minimum. If they didn't mind in Texas, when they had that giant flood, that they literally, the people had to, remember what I did last night, D? When I said, y'all got to self-govern yourselves? Because what was happening? They were robbing and looting the stores. And they had it where black folks were out there with guns and, yo, stop. Because when y'all take from this is going to hike up and destroy our economy. Stop destroying our stuff. So we got to understand, in 2 months' time, hurricane season is going to be on the east. In the Midwest, they're going to be tornado season. And out there,
that's right. That's right.
And out there in the doggone and out there in the West Coast, y'all gonna have earthquakes up to Yale. These things have been picking up more and more and more and more. And
Now,
we don't even know if the North they can handle another winter. So I don't know. This coronavirus is too coincidental. We don't know who's going to survive through this.
This is a question I have for everybody on the panel. D. Darrell, jump in here, and sister, back to the basics. Now, like all of y'all, I grew up. I studied the Bible. Not like everybody. Depends on what religion you were introduced to. Let me correct that statement, because everyone has been introduced to different things growing up. But I studied the Bible, and in the Bible, and then now I'm going to get biblical on y'all. It does talk about in the last days of the earth, you will have nations against nations. You will have confusion. You will have disease. You will have fornication. You will have all types of wildness, just like in Babylon. We're living in a Babylon. Now, not to get scare anybody, because I've been thinking about this, BMT, and everybody listening. Mm-hmm. Is there a chance that what's happening with the coronavirus is either a wake-up call that God is telling us we better get our shit together and get right with God? Not that I'm sound like a preacher right now.
No, you're
or is this a sign that the end is near for humans? Because we know that dinosaurs were on the earth before we got here, and they're no longer here anymore. And every civilization has its time. There have been great civilizations that have risen and have fallen, and America and other countries are no different. So this is the revelation. Are we actually seeing the last days as we're alive now? Or is this just a moment that we'll get through? Some of us will survive, and we'll look back when we're old and we'll say, do you remember the coronavirus back in 2020? Or is it the end for us? I hate to make that prognostication like that Negro dominant statement, but it's got to be relevant.
It's too coincidental, huh?
Right. Go ahead, D. Darrell, and then I got to get back to the basics, sister, because she's been very patient. But go ahead, D. Darrell. Come on, give it to us.
I hate to say it, but I mean, at this point, I'm hoping that it's something. At the minimum, I'm hoping this is something we can look back at. But the problem that I'm having is that the fact of, as I watch a lot of these major news outlets, one of the most frequent things that I'm hearing is the fragile relationship that we have with China. Right. It keeps coming up, man. And so I don't know. I hate this. I can't completely just say, this is something, yes, every great empire, they rise and then they fall. But a constant thing I continue to see, China produces all of our pharmaceuticals. All the tech companies doing business with China. China owns most of our debt. China. It's and they're thinking. And they're also saying something they were also, that they were actually alluding. They had Republicans talking about, they feel that China should fit the bill for every economic loss that the United States will experience through this pandemic.
Right, because they think, you got people saying it's the Chinese virus, and that you should get away from saying that, because that's why they don't. Spanish flu was the last label that they put like that. Yeah. Let me just say this, D. Darrell, let's put it in numbers. 80% of the pharmaceutical medications that Americans are using today is coming out of China and India.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're right. They own we have debt to them. And then not only that, another reason why we're having some struggles with getting our resources? Let's ask an honest question. Then I got to go over to back to the basics. She's been waiting patiently. We got to be honest. How much American goods are actually being manufactured in America?
That was another thing that was brought up.
So it's a thought, brother. It's not a thought. It's reality. Let me just do this real quick. Sister, back to the basics. You heard the mouthful that I said, D. Darrell, and of course, BMT left us with some pebbles of wisdom that we need to think about. What are your thoughts and things that you've heard?
Oh my goodness. So much there. I would say, yeah, we're in the last days. I'm gonna put on my minister hat because I am an ordained minister, and I'm
Oh,
telling you,
okay.
oh yeah, yeah, praise the Lord, hallelujah, and all that jazz. So
Mm.
I mean, I try to stay positive. I noticed this week I was trying to, have anxiety, and then I went over to Philippians chapter 4, where it says, to be anxious for nothing. But like, as far as we should be praying, we should be thankful and grateful for every day that he allows us, as far as the Most High. So I mean, I know we're in the last days. Shoot, there's too many things going on. All you got to do is read Matthew 24 and Luke 21 and Mark 13. I mean, shoot, Jesus made it real simple that as far as what was going to be coming. And he said, that when all these things would happen, it would just be the beginning of sorrow. So I would say, yeah, we're going to see it. We're going to see some more things, unfortunately. But as far as just don't give up hope, and then don't let anxiety just rule over you, because I mean, a lot of this is your mind. We do have to get our mind right. I mean, I know what I saw when I went to the store, like Monday evening. Like, people were like, literally, they were anxious. I could just tell that. I'm a sensitive person. Like I said, I absorb energy and emotions all day. So you can tell me that you're not anxious, but it's just like, okay, I know you're lying because I know you're anxious.
Well,
So
let me say this to anybody, and I'm looking everybody in the eye right now. Anybody that says that they don't have some anxiety or anxiousness or something that they're concerned about as it relates to this situation, as it has gotten super serious, I'm telling you, in my opinion, you're lying to yourself and you're lying to other people. I'm
yeah.
sitting up here and I can look everybody on this screen and tell you right now, Infoman is concerned. I am I am more fortunate than other people because I am an essential worker in the state of California, so I can continue to get in. My employment is intact because of that. I am more fortunate than others to be able to purchase goods and services, but I am still very, very concerned as to how many more people get this and how much more I could possibly come in contact, because there are forms of this. There are people who have this coronavirus who are saying they can't get tested. They're being turned away. They're calling a doctor. They're being given red tape. And then there are people who are just plumb dying.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that to everybody. I'm concerned for everybody's health and safety. It looks like it's me and you on right now. So I'm going to put an end to this, but let me just say this. Everybody in the chat room, please come over on Sunday. I'm going to go on live around 12:15 noon Western time. My goal is to go on time and not go on late. I'm going to have a sister on with me. We're going to be talking about the ways that you can boost your immune system, because everyone's telling you to wear a mask. Everyone's telling you to wash your hands. That's right. Everyone's telling you all these other things. But the one thing I don't hear enough people talking about is what type of diet you should be putting in your body. While people are running to the store buying potato chips, soda pop, foolishness like that, you're forgetting about your bananas, your oranges, your apples. And if you're a black person, you need to be buying foods that's going to energize your melanin. Wake up. We're going to touch on that tomorrow. The vitamins that you need to be taking, the nutrients that you need to get into your body, micronutrients, very important. So let me get her. She's coming back on here. Okay, now I said my spiel. Now, is there anything while you're on with me that you would like to add, sister?
Not that much.
To the discussion.
I mean, what all that you said is true, because, like I said, I be fighting anxiety every day, and then I'm also recovering from depression. So I mean, it's just one of those things. You just can't allow it to overtake you and consume you. And as far as diet, that's very important. Shoot, I went to the store too, but I bought some water and I got some mangoes and a few other things like some fruits and vegetables. I'm like, I'm not worried about all that other stuff that that people are getting. So
what I'm gonna do on my podcast is not gonna be on YouTube. It's just gonna be on the podcast that I'm on. We got Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. I'm gonna be talking about today, and I'll probably go live on Spreaker doing that. I'm going to talk about mental health. I am a mental health clinician, and there's ways that we got to learn to cope with what's happening. We got to, and these are the things you need to be doing. If you are at home, do your best to do things that give you enjoyment. Play your goddamn music. You want to play it loud? Play your music loud. You want to dance in the house? Play. If you want to look at your movies, your Netflix, whatever, do something to entertain yourself, to kind of help cope with the anxiety of what's going on. You want to stay in reality, of course. You don't want to escape reality, but you got to do something for your mental health. Call up family, talk to someone, do something to keep some type of normalcy in your life around this craziness, or you're going to go crazy. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I can feel the anxiety and the stress increasing in me when I'm outside of the household, in that environment out there in the world. I get my most peace when I'm just at home. And so that's what helps me for my coping, but I got to keep it under control because as a man, I've got to stay in control for my child and for my loved ones. If I'm losing control and they're looking to me for leadership as a man, then they're going to lose confidence if I'm running around. And I think that's one of the things that men have to do, that even when we're concerned, we got to bury that, because there's other people looking for our leadership. What you need to do as a man, when you get alone and you're by yourself, if you got to cry, cry. If you got to sob, sob. Let it all out when you're by yourself, but don't display it. It's just my opinion. Maybe I sound like a chauvinist or something, but I just think if you got to display your emotions, do it privately. But when you're dealing with your family, your kids, and your loved ones, you want to stay strong, because you think that you're sad. They're probably 10 times more sad. Okay. And they're looking for your leadership. That's my advice. As a man, you got to stay strong for your loved ones as best you can. It doesn't mean you don't express your concern to them, but they don't need you crying. This is my opinion. If they're crying, black man out there, you don't need to be crying in front of them, because then they lose confidence in you. Some people may. That's just my caveman theory, my caveman notion there. Okay. Let me say shout out to some folks in the chat room. We got the Return of the Black Man. We got Jamaica is in the house. Knit. I checked out your channel, sister. You got a nice channel with the knitting and all that. I like that. We got the King Wage is in the house. The Life of King Wage. Check out his channel. Give him support. We got Bamboo. Check him out. I always see you on the Beer Man channel. There's a lot of good people on YouTube of all different races and all that. There's some interesting people on YouTube out there. And although my channel, I'm focusing on issues, that are affecting black people, there are some interesting folks on YouTube who do different things out there. So check them out. And we got the Great Black Shark. Hey, the Great Black Shark, check this out. The Great Black Shark, the video that I put out that got good views, the Great Black Shark had this video on his channel. And matter of fact, I think he had the full long version of it. But when I put that video out, I had no idea that the Black Shark had that video until somebody told me. Somebody sent it to me on Facebook, and then I packaged it up and said, let's get that information out there to people. And then I went over to Great Black Shark's channel, and he's got a nice thing going over there. Great stuff going on over there on his channel. So check him out. Subscribe to him. What's up, Earl Owens? Glad to see you here. Brother Rob, I put the link out there because I wanted you to come on to the panel, and I wanted to get your perspective before I end the program today. Let me put the link back in there again. Come on the panel for a minute, Brother Rob, before I close out. Come on upstairs, click the link. I got to get his perspective, sister, before I put a crescendo on everything. But let me tell you right now, thank you for your support. You've been very supportive of my show. I know that I can be a radical figure at times. I say things off the hook sometimes, but I mean well to speak the truth about things that are happening. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I know people are fans of Donald Trump. Anybody that denies this has got to be a plum buck fool. Donald Trump is not handling this in the best way. I had a chance to listen to him live on the press conference today. That's his voice. It's not me making him say things. And he said some things. Someone said to him, and I got the audio. Shit, I was going to play that on Sunday. He said, someone asked him, what about people who need the test that are saying that they got the symptoms? And he basically hushed up the reporter and kind of minimized it.
Oh, no.
Then he got into this whole thing. Oh, that's a nasty question. You're scaring people. I mean, he's being asked legitimate questions that he doesn't want to answer. And then, you know what he did that was very slick? He kept saying, we inherited a really bad public health system, a very bad system.
Oh,
wait a minute. He cut the Obama pandemic team. He got rid of them. He cut them out. He cut the public health down to 80%. Some of this stuff he was a contributor to, as well as other administrations. Okay. But yet he's on there saying all this old dog whistle stuff. Oh yeah, we inherited a real bad system. No, yeah,
of course.
So I got some problems with his leadership and the nonsense that he is conducting in the way he conducts himself. I don't think it's good for Americans to have a president who keeps contradicting the health experts. What are your thoughts? What do you say, sister?
Oh, this is so tough.
Well, you're military. All right, then then that's all right.
No,
we're gonna censor you. No. Okay.
So what I'm gonna say is, just like what BMT said, and he put it very well, because I hate to have to use the term split loyalties, but that's sort of what I have. It may come to a point where I may have to choose one. That's why this is my last contract. I'm not signing another contract. They can send they can send the retention NCO or whoever else, the colonel or whoever else. I'm done after this. I can't do it anymore. I know as far as some people, I know what uniform I am wearing, but the thing is that not everybody in the military is asleep. There are people who are awake as far as what's going on. And some people are actually leaving. Like I said, my time hasn't come for me to leave, so I really can't say what I would like to say. Okay. But
look, I understand you're active duty and you don't want anything to come down on you. I get it. But I'm not a member of the military. I'm not active duty. We have a piss poor leadership right now. And that's just the way I see it personally. Now, and I'll come right back to you, sister. Let me bring in Brother Rob, an educator, teacher himself, a man of the community. Rob, you saw a lot of brothers. Sir. I had a lot of who's who of black male YouTube up here today, and I want you to give us a perspective where you live at and what you're seeing on the ground. You heard the conversation that we were having up here, brother. Touch on some of those issues right now.
Yes. Number one, the governor put out today that it's a stay-at-home order for the state of Illinois starting tomorrow. So only essential services are going to be operating. I would say, in terms of the coronavirus and everything, I've been trying to study it from a scientific level. These last couple of days, I'm in just at the beginning of the research, right? But what I've come to understand is that it's an RNA strand type of virus. In scientific terms, that's the weakest type of virus that you could, that could be out there, RNA strand. But we still studying the pathology of it, right? Because these are things that we just don't know. It is new to the human population, right? So we at the beginning of this thing. I think some of it is fear, and just ignorance. People running out and buying toilet tissue. I'm like, man, hey, y'all go over there and get that soap. You know what I'm saying? Y'all go over
Right.
there, y'all go over there, get that ammonia, get that. You know what I'm saying? We need some bleach here. You know what
Right. I
I'm saying?
ran out. Hey, Rob, I ran out and I grabbed up a bunch of soap just a week ago. I'm thinking about when I go in the stores, I'm thinking, what's going on, Brother Young? Thank you for being here. But I'm going into the stores and I'm thinking about what is essential? What's the most essential thing you need if everything breaks down, right? And you got people,
Exactly.
as you heard us say earlier, you got
Mhm.
folks running around, you got folks running around grabbing potato chips. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having some snacks. Hell, I got me some snacks too. But you got folks
Right.
buying soda pop, potato chips, and candy and all this other shit. And I'm looking at their cart and I'm like, you got to be out your goddamn mind.
Yeah. I mean, to add on to that point, right? We are in the age. I mean, it is funny.
You got to laugh
We
to
are
keep
in
from
the age
crying.
where
Yeah.
we think we can customize everything. You cannot customize nature.
Right.
I say it all of the time. You can learn a lot from nature, but to get straight to it, right? Try to eliminate anything in your diet that's white. You know,
Right.
try if you can eliminate anything in your diet that's white, you're gonna eventually you will get to eating healthy. Any good workout start in the kitchen. George Macon will
Right.
tell you that. I'm not a workout guru or nothing like that. I'm a coach. You
Mm-hmm.
know, alkaline in the body is very important. You had mentioned it. This is a little trick that you can do. You get a
Right.
cucumber, you cut it up. You put that cucumber in a gallon of water. You have just
Right.
alkaline a gallon of water. You drink that
Right.
gallon of water first thing in the morning when you get up. I mean, not a whole gallon, I'm sorry. You drink a big glass of water first thing in the morning when you get up. What they do is it energize your entire system.
Right.
The
Right.
first thing you want to do if you're trying to fight a virus, keep your mucous membrane, keep it lubricated. How do you do that? By drinking fluids. Why would you drink fluids? Even if you come in contact with this virus, right? By keeping your mucous membrane lubricated.
Right.
Simply by drinking water, you can push it into your digestive system where it will be easily destroyed by the acids and enzymes in your digestive system. A
You know
lot of
why
this.
you're so right about that, brother? Because
Mhm.
I was listening. I was over on Brother Sanchez's channel. He does man, they talk about all sort of powerful things on his channel. And they were saying that if we properly alkaline our system, alkaline kills viruses. So when we talk about, see, I should be saving this for Sunday show, and I'll have to have you come on over and talk on a
Mhm.
Sunday show, Rob. So I'll be sending you a link
No doubt.
because I want people to give their input into this. But you're right. Viruses can't live in an alkaline environment, and people need to get into that. Don't laugh at your vegans. Don't laugh at your vegetarians. See, don't laugh at these people that we've been laughing at because they have a diet that is fortifying them against this corona type of shit. Now, another
Mhm.
thing, brother Rob,
Mhm.
that's important. You said something about drinking the water. I've read somewhere, and I talked about this a week ago, that you got to drink water, fluids. You're absolutely right, Rob. Keep the fluids in your body. And that don't mean drinking soda pop. That's the worst fluid you want to put in your body. Don't do that, folks.
So, bro, I'm glad you brought that up. Please understand, if you do have unhealthy habits in terms of drinking soda and Kool-Aid and things of this nature, some people love to have that cup of coffee in the morning.
Right,
Understand, caffeine works against your immune system. Do you see?
right. Thank
It
you.
works against your melanin. So what you will have to do is, if you gotta have that cup, understand anything that got in at the end, you probably don't. You probably need to avoid that as much as possible.
Right.
Nicotine, caffeine. You know what I'm saying, man? It's a big list of them. You want to avoid them. You know what I'm saying? This is just a rule and thumb for my players, right? The
Right.
first thing in the morning that you gotta eat, bro. The first thing in the morning that it gotta come off a vine. If I hit any packaging, I'm gonna break somebody's fingers.
Right.
Literally, man.
And you
I
know
don't
that,
play
and when
around.
you wake up in the morning, tell me if I'm wrong or right. When you wake
Mhm.
up in the morning, one of the things you want to do is you definitely want to get water, alkaline water in your system. You want to replenish yourself. Is that right or wrong, Rob?
Man, that's absolutely right. The
Okay.
first thing that should hit your system in the morning is water. Now, I'm not sure. I don't want to get all, you know, personal with people, right? But
Right.
you should be passing whatever you eating within a 24-hour. It really should be 6 to 8 hours, right? But
Right.
it's normal to be 18 to 24 hours. That's still considered normal. If you don't have a regular bowel movement, you know what I'm saying, every 24 hours, man, you need to incorporate a grapefruit in the morning. A grapefruit, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Don't
Mm-hmm.
squeeze it, oh, it's super bitter. Hey, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Eat a grapefruit in the morning, guaranteed. You know what I'm saying? Guaranteed. You're gonna have a bowel movement today. It don't matter how big or small it is, just eat it whole. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Feel it, eat it
So
whole.
so Rob,
Yup.
thank you for to on Sunday I'm going to do a show around that and I'm going to get into all of that. I'm going to break down the vitamins and what each vitamin that you need to take does for your body. I'll send you a link or hopefully you'll be around to come on and remind people of what you just said right now because I had said this earlier, Brother Rob, that they're telling us to do all these other things, but I don't hear
Mhm.
a lot of people, not that there's not people out there, but I don't hear a lot of talk about what we need to do with our first defense is what we put in our body. What you put in your body is the first defense to you, how you deal with the world when you go out the door. So you got to get the body right first, and that starts with diet. And I'm
Man,
gonna be honest with you. For those of you that are gonna be in the house, don't just sit in the house and do no type of exercise too. Do something, even if you're in the house. Do something, jumping
man,
jacks,
you
push-ups,
you
whatever.
you 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 work in mental health,
Yes,
right? So
sir.
you understand when people's routines are disrupted, how psychologically damaging that is. People
Right.
don't even people don't even understand their routine of going to sleep with a purpose, to get up in the morning with a purpose, to go to work with a purpose, to get paid every 2 weeks. When that is
Right.
disrupted, fear fear is the first option. You know what I'm saying? Y'all already know black people, we have a limited we got a
Yeah, that's
limited
true.
emotional range. We got our emotional range is, hey, you either my dude or nigga, I'm about to kill you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, something like that, something crazy like that. That's right.
I mean,
Well,
because of that limited emotional range, and then not listening to brothers like BMT and George Macon. I was backstage. I was backstage once them brothers start talking. I'm like, man, let me go ahead and sit my ass down and listen. You know what I'm saying?
right, right.
And brother Doug and Gray Shark, they was correcting me in the chat, giving me different perspectives. I try to do my best to be humble. I don't know it all, brother.
Yeah, let
Right?
me say this
But
that
I do
brother
know
Doug,
that.
go ahead what you were saying. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. I was just gonna say, I just try to be as positive as I possibly can. You gotta be optimistic. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And science right now is gonna be our best soldier. Science gonna be our best soldier.
I
We
think
fighting the virus. You
right.
feel what
I
I
think
mean?
we got to use science, but I think for every man and woman, we've got to get out of emotions because when I went out today, I was trying to fight back my emotions and use logic, right? So we got to use logic and how we're dealing with our family, ourselves. We got to think reasonable because when you get emotional, it can cause you to make mistakes and do things wrong because your emotions, as well as they're part of making you human, they can also work against you. So we got to think logically. We got to be calm. Black people out there, I'm telling you right now, sit down with your family members. This is the time to sit down and talk to each other, talk about your diet, talk about what you should be eating. Think about if you're going to go out there and scrounge up what you can. Think about what's most important versus what you think you need to have. I mean, let's say you got a bag of chips. What's more important, a bag of chips or a goddamn fruit in your body? You know, you got to think about all these different things. So that is 100% on the money. Brother Rob, I want to thank you for being here, brother. I will be on Sunday and talk about the health part of this issue. And he named Brother Great Black Shark, Brother Doug. We got Wildflower Wisdom. We got great people, Anita B, Bamboo. We got great people in the chat room right now. And I want to thank them all for being here. Brother Earl Owens, everybody that's in the chat room. I thank you all for being here. Now, sister, I want to give you your last words. Not last words. I hate that. As if you're not going to be alive. I don't want to put that on you. Let's just say, give us a nice conclusion to our program today. Any other thoughts you want to add before we come to a crescendo today?
First of all, thank you for allowing me to come. I know I can't speak freely at this time, but I'm going to continue to speak what I can, because I think if I remain silent, that would be an injustice. I would encourage people to practice self-care. As you mentioned earlier, as far as, do what you have to do to stay in a positive mindset, as far as listening to music, exercising, and of course, eating a healthy diet.
Right. If you like meditation, meditate, whatever it's going to take to break the anxiety. And that's what I'm going to do. And then this is another thing that I need to say here. For some of us, we may not really appreciate how much we'd have to be thankful for, how much we have compared to other people. All right. Because for myself, I'm fortunate in some other areas, but there's other people out there that are struggling more than I could be struggling right now. So think about that too. There's people that are less fortunate than you are. And then what this also does for us, folks, is it lets us recharge our thoughts and say to ourselves, you know what? I've been taking for granted stuff. There's a lot of things that we take for granted. And now that it seems like toilet paper and all this other crazy stuff that's ridiculously flying off the shelf, we're forgetting that we got to be thankful for the things that we do have, and don't take for granted the things that you've been taking for granted, that you now find yourself saying, damn, I need that. I got to get it. How do I go? So we got to really, this is a come to Jesus moment, a come to reality about how we're living our life in terms of resources, our family members. If you got beefs with people in your family in particular, this is not a time to continue those beefs. It ain't really worth it right now, because this virus does not discriminate. It can kill any of us. In the way the systems are in America, where you're not guaranteed to get a test, and they ain't got no vaccine for this. It's real, folks. It's real. So I want to thank everybody in the chat room for being here. Do me a favor. Share everybody in the chat room. I know you got Facebook, you got social media. Come on now, do me a favor. Share this in all your social media so that more people can hear this. This is a very important issue. I really appreciate it. If you can all just do me that favor. That's all I'm asking. Share it in your social media, your Twitter, your Facebook pages. If you're a part of Facebook groups, go on and share it. If you got a YouTube channel and you got people that follow your channel, put the goddamn link in your damn chat room. I'll do the same thing for any of you who are content creators who want to spread the word of what you're talking about. I appreciate that. If you could do that, I appreciate if everybody could come back strong on Sunday. I'm hoping that I'll probably get a bigger crowd of people over here on Sunday. Sundays have been good to me. And I think the topic is going to catch people's attention even more so, because we're talking about nutrition and health. So with that said, thank you.
What time on Sunday? What time on Sunday for the people and for me too?
My goal is to go on at 12:15 noon Western time, which will probably be 2 o'clock Central Time, 3 o'clock Eastern Time. I've got a sister that's coming on with me who's she's into health and training. She's a trainer. She's gonna be on a panel with me. We're gonna be chopping this up. I'm welcoming other people to come on the panel and add to the discussion. I'm gonna have Art come on over, and I might as well send brother George Makem a link because he's very knowledgeable about health and things of that nature. And I think we need to fortify people with as much information that can help them fight this battle on a nutritional level as well as a spiritual and mental level. All three phases, spiritual, physical, and mental, is how we're going to have to deal with this coronavirus, as it is a reality. This is not a joke. Yes, sir.
Right, no doubt. And I was just gonna say in closing, man, thank you for inviting me up. I was surprised that you still wanted to get close the show out with my thoughts and opinions on the subject. Again, I'm coming from an optimistic point of view. I feel like scientifically we have made some advances. Even our brothers over in Africa, some of the virologists over there in Africa are coming up with ideas. I hear that there are doctors and virologists in Cuba that also have, cures. And with the internet, it's very possible that we can overcome this. So again, what I'm saying, I want everybody to have a positive outlook, but at the same time, protect yourself by all means.
Well, brother Rob, let me tell you something. I got two explosive things to tell you. You know that if anybody in America wants to be a doctor without having to deal with the cost of becoming a doctor in Cuba, you can go to Cuba. You have to take 1 year of Spanish before you go into their medical school, but they'll pay for that, and they will train you to be a doctor. And the only thing you have to do after you finish their medical program is that you have to go back to your community or a community in the world that is suffering to provide them health treatment. And you will be a full-fledged doctor. Now, Cuba, this is a little secret. We're willing to do business with China and all these other corrupt countries, okay? But guess what? Cuba tried to offer their medical expertise to the United States with fighting the coronavirus. And guess what the United States said to them back? Are you ready, everybody? Here's the answer. You notice I'm not saying anything. They didn't. Wow. They did not take the offer from Cuba, and Cuba is very advanced in their medicine, more than people realize. Okay, Cuba offered, and the United States turned their back on them. Go figure. Now, you talked about Africa, brother. I have a video. I was thinking about dropping it today. There's a brother, I found it on one of the channels. There's a brother in Africa, in Nigeria. Goes by the name of Dr. Maurice. I can't make out the second part of his name.
Yes, sir. I think me and you both are talking about the same person. Go ahead.
Okay. He's talking about that they have been very familiar with the coronavirus in Nigeria, and that they think that they have various formulas and various things that they can neutralize it. That's what they're talking about in Nigeria. And you know what's funny? It's not really funny. Nigeria don't have a lot of cases of coronavirus. Africa
they have less than 10. Nigeria has less than 10.
Right. They had 2 last week. And a lot of people in the continent of Africa who have been coming up with the coronavirus are not even Africans. They come from outside of Africa. They're traveling over there, right?
The concentration of the cases in Africa are mainly in Egypt.
Right.
And we talking about 50 plus countries. You
right.
know what I mean?
Yeah. I think
all countries. Go ahead.
I think I'm gonna read. I think I'm gonna drop. I mean, he. I think he was involved in politics, and he's kind of controversial on the political level. But in terms of his medicine level, the brother is brilliant. So I think I'm gonna drop that video. Maybe I'm gonna drop it at some point in time. I got to space out these videos I'm doing because I got this, and then I got the one on Sunday that I'm doing. But yeah. Africa and Nigeria. Well, Africa is the continent, of course, but Nigeria is one of the countries. They're saying that they've been researching this stuff for quite some time. And even when it came to HIV and AIDS, brother, countries over there were already studying that. It's funny how, don't you find it interesting, everybody, how whenever Africa has a breakthrough in something that has to do with health and science, the Western world tries to marginalize them, underestimate. They don't get any press about it. You notice that? Anybody can.
Oh yeah, I noticed it. Yeah, it's all that happens all the time. Though it's just a shame. It really is a shame that that happens because a lot of people over there are educated. You know, they already have a bachelor's degree or whatever. So they're not uneducated at all. So I'm not surprised that they're having medical breakthroughs. I mean, some other people are like, "Are you surprised?" I'm like, "No, I'm not surprised."
Right. Right. So anyway, with that said, thank you for being on, sister. Back to the basics. I'm glad that you're here. Brother Rob, thank you. Great discussion. I think I will drop that video about that doctor maybe Tuesday, or I'm going to drop it. I got to space out my videos. But thank you, everybody, for being here. Catch the show live 12:15 Western Time, 2:15 Central Time, and 3:15 Eastern Time. I'll be on talking about how you can boost your immune system to put up the fight against the coronavirus. This is very important information that we'll have on the show on Sunday. Thank you, everybody. I want to thank Gab Talk Media, who was on. I want to thank Brother D. Durrell. I want to thank Art New Style, who was on. I want to thank Brother George Macomb for coming on. We had some good folks on today. I want to thank Brother BMT for coming on. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Brother Rob, who came on now. I want to thank Sister Black Back to the Basics for coming on. She's a great supporter of mine. And everybody in the chat room, from King Wage to Wildflower Wisdom to Bamboo to the Life of King Wage to It's Me, Winston. What's going on, Winston? Good to have you here, brother. Good to see you here, Winston. You missed some of the most of the show, so make sure you watch it on the replay, Winston, and make sure you share it in your Twitter, your Facebook, and all social medias that you are on. That's real talk to you, brother. We got Brother Earl Owens. Thank you for being here. Anita B, Keystone Tech, everybody that's come in, and those that I did not mention, I apologize. Winston, brother, you got to watch the show over again. Very important. And I will do a show on Sunday as well around the issue of how you can boost your immune system to guard against this coronavirus as well. So check it out. I appreciate everybody for coming over. And make sure you share this in your social media. I cannot say that any more than what I've said. So take care. I'll see you around the YouTube streets today. Take care. Be safe. I'm going to say this again. Black men who have families, who have children, whoever you are, you got to step your asses up. Get your ass out there and do the hunter-gatherer thing for your children, for your wife, your loved ones, for your family. I don't care. Whatever your family situation is, don't matter. Men got to step up. You got to do what you got to do, and you got to educate yourself on this coronavirus. And please, folks, when you go out there shopping and getting your goods, however you can get them, don't bring your kids and the little ones with you. You do not want your little ones being exposed to what's out there. I saw a kid today running around when I was out there trying to get my goods. And I'm saying to myself, why would this person bring their child and put them into this environment right now? Because they just reported that kids can get the coronavirus now. They are not immune whatsoever. With that said, this is the Information Man show. Thank you. Peace. And be on the lookout for my podcast today, or where I'm going to talk about mental health. At some point in time, I'm going to broadcast that live on Spreaker, because I am on Spreaker. I am on Spotify. I am on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, all the good stuff out there. Everybody take care, and peace and love to you. Peace. Peace, everybody. Peace and love to you. Check out these pictures of empty shelves again.
Information is power.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Tell the truth.
And peace to everybody out there in Periscope that was listening to the program and will listen to it on repeat, and everybody that's been listening live on Twitter.
In the White House, I'm not gonna say his name.
Jackal-egg creatures.
Information is power.
In the White House, I'm not gonna say his name.
Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Information man. Information man. Information man. Information man. Information man.
Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Information man.
Tell the truth. You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel. Information is power.
Information man. Information man. Information man.
Information is power.
Information man. Information man. Information man.
Tell the truth.